Hello, my sexy aliens, and welcome to your horoscope for August 2025. Can you believe we are in August? This year is flying by. Like, is it just me? Like, am I just getting old? I don't know, but it is insane. So in this video, what we do is basically go over what the month ahead is going to look like and some of the deeper lessons, archetypes, symbology that it could be bringing up for you and your rising sign. I do base this off of rising sign because that's how I am reading the horoscopes. I'm not reading it for your sun sign, your moon sign. I'm putting your rising sign in the first house where it belongs, and I'm reading it that way. I also recommend that you come back and watch later in the month. Like right now would be a good time to go back and watch July's horoscope because that shit was freaking spot on. I don't know about you, but it was for me. Like I predicted my month beautifully down to so many details that it kind of blew me away listening to it back. Listen throughout the month as well because it can be a lot to take in and remember all at once. So don't be scared to come back and watch the videos. That way you can make sense of astrology as well. Like it's not just to help my channel out, but it's also to help you understand how these things are affecting you in your life and the different ways they can be coming up. And we are going to get into what August means for your rising sign. Alrighty, my sexy Leo rising, starting with you. Happy season to us. Hello. Leo risings in the house. It is our first house season in this month. Woo, it is a party. Alrighty, it is a party. We'll call it that. We'll call it a party, all right? Because it's just powerful. We have so much happening. There's so much change that is coming in August for us as Leo risings. There are so many truths that are going to need to be spoken this month. There's so much transformation and metamorphosis that is happening in August. And I do believe for the most part that it is a very positive thing and it is a very healing thing. And I'm going to tell you why. So let's go ahead and pull up your chart on the screen. I am so excited to talk about this for us because there's just so much. So first off, we're going to do a little recap here, okay? July, we had a lot going on in our 12th house sector of Cancer season, right? Now, this is really, really important. July was like a big month. You may have noticed it was feeling a bit more nostalgic. You were feeling a bit more sensitive, emotional. When the sun goes through our 12th house and we are ruled by the sun as Leo risings, the sun is our chart ruler. This is a time where we are definitely feeling that Cancer energy. Wherever the sun goes, we embody. And this is why I kind of love being a Leo rising as an astrologer, because it's really easy for me to get on here and embody the energies of each of the signs as the sun goes through them, because I'm a Leo rising, I'm ruled by the sun. Happens the same in our 12th house. Now, the 12th house is a very sensitive area that deals with the ways behind the scenes in which we are self-sabotaging ourselves, the ways, the buried emotions, the buried stuff that needs to come out. The way that I see July now is our cup was full to the brim of old murky water, and we've been wanting that refresh. We've been wanting that oh, I just want to fill my cup back up, feel full again, feel like me again. But we couldn't do that with all the old murky water that was in the cup, so we had to dump the cup out. July was a month of emotional releasing, healing, spiritual hygiene, I kept saying. You may have felt way more in tune with your intuition. You may have felt way more in tune with your dreams. And that is definitely why. July was a month of kind of rest for the soul, healing and recovery for the soul, so that you can come back and make your comeback in August, okay? Now, the other part of July and the other part of the 12th house is clearing karma. So you may have noticed things coming up from the past. You may have noticed a lot of old ancestral or familial entanglements that were coming up from the past, especially if you are on a self-healing journey, if you're into self-development and all of that. Old insecurities, buried subconscious beliefs, old wounds, things like this. This was a month of really, again, clearing out that cup so that we can now move forward in August, okay? So now as we come into the month of August, we are picking up the pieces. Mercury is retrograde in our first house, showing us where we have lost certain pieces of ourselves. The way I see Mercury retrograde right now in our first house is like a puzzle, right? That puzzle has been missing quite a few pieces, or maybe it got a bit scattered up over the last several months or last year, whatever. And now we are finding pieces of the puzzle again. And those pieces are all parts of ourselves. And we're putting it all back together so we can feel whole again. And the more that we put together, the more that we feel like ourselves. Now, what's important as I'm saying this is that you are integrating each part of yourself, not cutting off or being in conflict with different parts of yourself. This is a huge lesson here as a Leo rising. As a Leo rising, you are here to literally learn over and over again, who am I? Self-love, embodiment, understanding that you are the creator, being in touch with your inner child. Whatever you fight, you feed. And that is such a huge quote for this month, particularly with Libra moving it, or Mars moving into Libra, which we'll talk about in a minute. But whatever you fight, you feed. So if you are fighting a puzzle piece, a part of yourself, and you're like, no, I don't want to put that one back. People might think this about me, or that might be a little embarrassing, or that one doesn't feel too good. You need to put it back. Like, you need to love it. I had this kind of like, I was contemplating, because I've been working on like a lot of shame in July, and I think that's kind of the name of the game for August. I think we're still going to be working on some shame that we feel, which basically splits us. Like, shame is a reaction to us splitting ourselves into two, us cutting a part of ourselves off, like taking a puzzle piece out and not wanting it to be a part of us anymore. And the thing is here is that what I have really learned with shame and healing shame is that you don't get rid of shame by like just, again, trying to keep it over there. Like, you stay over there, I'll stay over here. And like, that's not how you heal shame, right? You heal things by integrating them. You heal things by bringing it in as a part of yourself again, bringing it in and loving it. And maybe it's not even a part of you. You just thought it was. A lot of the times, like, shame is from something that happened to us or from something that we did that we then make into our identity, that we're then like, oh, I am bad, instead of I made a decision that I wasn't really happy with. It goes from that to like, now I am not happy with me because I made that decision. And we make it into something that goes with like our identity. Like, we start identifying with the shame rather than looking at it as just like an experience or an action or a lesson or like whatever, right? But we don't get rid of the shame by continuing to push it away, by continuing to be in conflict with it. We heal the shame by loving it, because shame dissipates when it is taken into the light. Shame thrives in the darkness. Shame finds its power in the darkness. It only finds its power through you, because you fight it. And whatever you fight, you feed. You're giving it power by saying, I don't want that. As soon as you're like, you know what, come here, I'm not scared of you anymore, I'm going to accept you as a part of me, you come back into wholeness with yourself. And so I was like contemplating this the other day, and a lot of the time our shame is around feeling unworthy or not good enough. And so what I was thinking about the other day, and it was kind of this like quote that popped into my mind. I'm like, you know, I always have quotes that kind of just download into my mind. And the quote was, until your not good enoughness is good enough for you, you won't heal it. So a lot of the times what happens is like something will happen outside of us, let's say, and a person will act like a certain part of us is not good enough. So then we repress that part and we're like, yeah, that part of me is not good enough. And we basically do the same thing to that part of us that the person was doing to us. And so now we've labeled this part of us as not good enough, and we're also treating it as it's not good enough and trying to get rid of it and trying to prove that we're not that, and we're in constant conflict with ourselves. And so the key to starting any self-love journey is no longer being in conflict with yourself, okay? This is so huge and this is so important. And this is how we thrive as Leo risings. This is how we come back into ourselves, into our confidence, into feeling more like ourselves. Like, most spiritual teachers and philosophers have literally said that it starts with who you are. Like, the biggest question is asking yourself, who am I? Until you know who you are, it is so difficult to know what you want, know how to move forward, to know what to do, all of that. So it all starts with identity, especially as a Leo rising. Like, this is what we're literally here to learn. It all starts with us. And so if our relationship with ourselves is not, you know, the best, because we're in conflict with this and we're in conflict with that, and we feel bad about that, and we don't like this part of ourselves and all of that, then we don't feel like ourselves, and our lives feel boring and lifeless, and we feel lost, and you know, like that light is not there within us anymore. And so anyway, this Mercury retrograde is showing us where we have to pick up the pieces of these silent parts of ourselves that have been screaming at us, or that have been even attracting situations outside of us that trigger us, to show us that they're still there, to show us that, like, hey, we need to integrate these different parts of ourselves into our identity again, so we can feel like we are full and whole again, so we can feel confident in ourselves. And then from there, we can start to begin to help other people and inspire and influence other people. Okay. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening this month, as Mercury is going to be retrograde, but finishing up its retrograde, pretty much almost halfway through the month. Like, this is where we begin to come back into wholeness with ourselves, and we begin to speak our truth. We begin to speak more boldly. We begin to allow different aspects of our personality to come out again that maybe were once repressed. We begin to feel confident in ourselves again. We begin to feel a sense of ambition again. We begin to feel that spark again. And this is the beginning of that. And this is what August is so much about. Okay, so really enjoy this, the first few weeks of August, because this is really the name of the game here. Now, on top of that, though, we're going to have Mars entering into the sign of Libra and coming out of our second house of Virgo, where we've learned a lot of lessons recently about perfectionism and self-critique and feeling like unuseful or not good enough, or where we hoard things or hold on to things or are settling for things that we don't really want because of fear, where we're not trusting, where we're trying to fix everything, where we're, just being too perfectionistic and second guessing ourselves all the time, and second guessing what we're capable of and our usefulness and all of that. So we've had to release a lot of karma with that. Again, clearing karma. And then Mars moves into Libra, our third house. And this even more is an activation of our voice, an activation of our thoughts, our mental patterns, our day-to-day habits, our day-to-day environments, how we feel about ourselves and our inner narrative on like a day-to-day basis, like what's going on in our mindset and inside of us on a day-to-day basis here. Where are we, like, what old belief systems or old ways of viewing the world or life are causing us to play small in our day-to-day lives? And I think that's what this is really going to be about. So basically, Mars rules Aries, right? Where we have this massive Neptune-Saturn conjunction that's been happening for several months now. And when Mars moves into Libra, it's going to oppose that conjunction, even though it rules it. So it rules it, and it's coming down to Libra to say, hold on a second. Before we can continue moving forward, or for us to continue moving forward, we've got to integrate some other stuff. We've got to see where we have been, not speaking our truth, where we have not been asserting boundaries in our lives, where we have not wanted to move forward because we've been avoiding conflict in some way in our day-to-day lives. This is where it's like we are bringing our beliefs, our spiritual beliefs, and our spiritual outlooks, our philosophical outlooks down to earth, and needing to integrate them on a day-to-day level. Now, on another note, this is really going to be very, very great for those of you that are very creative. If you're a Leo rising, I'm sure many of you are. If you've been wanting to start a podcast, or you've already got a podcast, or you do some kind of content, or you do anything with writing, speaking, this is going to be the time that you're going to feel on fire with that. Like, you are going to feel like, I am ready to start bringing more of my opinions and my truth out into the world. This is going to trigger that immensely. And not only that, it's going to be very, very influential, because we're going to have a grand trine here between Mars and Uranus and Pluto. Okay? Pluto in our 7th, Uranus in our 11th. So this is going to be huge, where it's like we are taking so many different life lessons, stories, spiritual concepts, our beliefs, things that we've learned, and we are starting to integrate them in our day-to-day lives, bring them down to earth, and maybe share them through communication in some way, or through other people in some way, through social situations in some way, whether it be content or poetry or post or podcast or videos or whatever. Now, for others, it could just be like you start learning something that really starts opening up your mind. And maybe it's something that you've already kind of dabbled in before, but either way, it's like you start learning something that really starts making you look at your day-to-day life in a different way. You start going about your day-to-day life, your environment, and what you're doing on a day-to-day basis in a whole different way. And it really starts triggering this like inspiration and motivation that really comes to life within you that wants to maybe make an impact on like a bigger level or do something in a bigger way. And you really realize like where you started making your circumstances or your excuses or, you know, other people's feelings or what other people think more of a big deal than you are. And that starts to really become evident this month, especially from the 6th onward, because Mars goes into Libra on the 6th and will immediately start trining Pluto and Uranus and start opposing Saturn and Neptune. So that first, like from like the 6th till probably like mid-month, we're going to be feeling this interaction happening of these planets, and it's going to be really, really powerful. And on top of that, we're going to have an Aquarius full moon here in our 7th house right around the 9th. And this is really bringing in like this concept. Okay, so the way that I usually see this play out as a Leo rising each year is that Leo season is comfortable for us. It's our rising sign. It's in our nature. We're like, hell yes, Leo season, baby. I am back. I am on it popping. I'm feeling more like myself. You go through this sense of like, I'm ready to start expressing myself again. I'm ready to start really expressing my authentic nature more and more and more. But then, you know, the Aquarius full moon comes along and it's like more of us also needing to integrate this other side of us that's like relatable and human and different, because the Leo energy is like, I'm special, I shine, like, you know, I'm charismatic, like I, you know, light up any room. The Aquarian energy is more like, I'm different, I don't shine, but I stand out. And I'm not just like everybody else, or I am just like everybody else. I'm human just like everybody else. It kind of works within these polarities. And so this is going to be a time of us kind of like needing to integrate a part of ourselves that may be coming up through our relationships or through our social situations with other people around the 9th and in the few days leading up to the 9th, where it's like, okay, this part of me may not be one of the parts of myself that I like super love all the time, but it's time to like show them some love again. This could also be a situation that gets brought up within your relationship, you know, something that's going on within your relationship or something that, you know, again, this month is a lot about relationships, like Mars and Libra, the full moon in our 7th house. How are we interacting with others? Are we on the same page? What needs to change? What boundaries do we need to set? What standards do we need to raise? Or what relations are no longer serving us or aligned with us in some way, shape, or form? And so that's going to be a huge part of this month. Now, on top of that, we also are going to have right around that full moon, basically on like the 10th and the 11th, Mercury is going to go direct and it's going to be opposite Pluto. It won't be exact. It will be a couple degrees off, but this is still nonetheless going to be felt and very powerful. This is almost like, you know, again, us really integrating some bold, powerful truth here, or some bold, powerful change in how we are viewing ourselves and others in some way, shape, or form. It's like there is something here that's like, I no longer need to perform. I no longer need to be just like a robot going through life. I can actually enjoy this. I can actually be myself. And like this could also be, again, expressing some kind of powerful truth or communicating some kind of truth bomb that maybe we've been scared to communicate because, again, maybe we've been scared of conflict or controversy or backlash. And so this is us really like integrating the peace within ourselves, coming into peace with all the different sides of ourselves and all the different like oppositions in our lives. You know, Uranus and Gemini, I think, is really also going to be teaching us a lot about like multidimensionality. Like, look, we are multidimensional. You cannot place us inside of a box. Again, it's very Aquarian. You can't be defined. And when when there's like a part of you that doesn't really fit with your perception of yourself or this image that you're creating of yourself, like sometimes, again, we can outcast that part of ourselves, very Aquarian. And it's like, actually, no, that part of me too. I can be both and I don't need to be defined. And a lot of the times, like, we do this because we're like, oh, if I like this kind of music, people are going to think I'm like this kind of person, or that I share the same artist's beliefs, or like whatever. Or if I agree with what this person said, then they're going to think that I'm in that group. And it's like, we can like different people and do different things and not box ourselves in. And if other people box ourselves in, oh well, like that's on them, like they still want to live in the social world of things needing to be black or white, and that's not how things are all the time, right? Like, we are multidimensional. There's so many other layers to us and our personality and the things that we like and the things that we love, that it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And so anyway, Mercury will be going opposite Pluto as well, right around the 10th and 11th there. This is a really powerful kind of final shift, I think, of like, oh, okay, like I see my power again, or I see where I've been giving my power away. And I see where I've neglected certain parts of myself or shamed myself for being human, and I no longer need to do that anymore. Now, the other transit of the month is Venus and Jupiter coming into their conjunction in our 12th house of Cancer here. So even more Cancer energy here. Now, this is really interesting because, number one, Venus and Jupiter are really like the two benefic planets in astrology. Like, they're amazing. So having this conjunction is like a really beneficial conjunction. Now, having it in our 12th house means that this is going to be extremely healing in some way, shape, or form. This is like going to be some kind of release that I think is going to help us on like a soul level, or some kind of maybe retrieval of old memories or old parts of ourselves again, or like a correcting of karma, like all of that stuff that we went through over the last month in July with all the Cancer season transits and all of that. It's like Venus is now coming in here and integrating all of it and making sure that like we are at peace with all of it, that the waters are calm and smoothed out before we move on. And so I really like this. Like, this is going to be a great month to still like take vacations, go on retreats, like really get into self-healing still, spirituality, like, really doing things that are very nurturing for your soul and for your spirit and for, your emotions, like really truly integrating old emotions that are ready to come back. This could be really great for ancestry work, or, messages and synchronicities from ancestors, or those that, you love, old family members that have passed on, or, it's like you're finding that safety, that serenity, and that security within your soul and on a deeper level again. And you're also beginning, because of that, it's allowing you to express that as well. And I think Venus, even, ruling Mars in Libra and in our third house, is also like, hey, again, embracing and integrating these different conflicts and finding peace within our own truth, within our own mindsets, within our own environments, within our own ways of thinking on a day-to-day basis. Now, the other thing I want to say really quick about Mars in Libra that I didn't bring up before is that because it is in the third house, this could also be a time where you do run into some controversies or some conflicts with siblings, neighbors, relatives, things like that, where you are maybe expected to keep the peace or find the middle ground. And like, I don't know about you, but like as a Libra sun, I have always been the peacemaker of the family, or even like the therapist of the family pretty much. And, I really had to start setting boundaries about that, because I would allow myself to get attached, also very Venus in Cancer. I would allow myself to kind of get like attached to these conflicts and feel like I would feel like it was my own conflict, even though it was with two people in my family or multiple people in my family or like whatever. And I would start stressing about it. I would start carrying the emotional weight and burden of it. And I had to literally stop doing that and allow people to make decisions for themselves, and allow my family and all of that to make decisions for themselves. And, if they asked my advice and I felt okay with giving it, I would give them my advice and then I would let them figure it out. I wouldn't take it on, because I used to like take it on and be like, okay, hold on, I'll call them, I'll talk to them for you, and I'll sort it out and play like the middleman. And I don't do that anymore. It's like, it's your conflict. You got into it. You're the one that has a problem with it. Like, that sucks. I love you, but I'm not going to sit here and take it all on and figure it out for you. Like, I have my own things that I'm doing and all of that. So it's like, there may be conflicts that we do need to face that are ours. And then there may be other people's conflicts that are, where they're trying to like pull us in. And it's like, we have to kind of evaluate our boundaries around emotionally attaching to these conflicts. We also may be reevaluating our truth around this time, like learning how to speak our truth and, express these concerns or boundaries or whatever, instead of holding it in to keep the peace or, running from it because it could start conflict. And so that's the other part of this as well. Now, other than that, with the 3rd and 9th house axis here, there could also be travel. Like I said, still vacation would be a really, really great. This is really like the best time for vacation with Venus and Jupiter in our 12th house. With our sun in the 12th house, not so much. I know almost like every vacation I tried to go on in July, and even in June, didn't work out for some reason or another. And I think I even talked about that in my July horoscope. I went, but it like rained the whole time or something, I didn't get to do what I really wanted to do, or something happened and, pretty much made it not what I was expecting it to be. So, but this is a way, way better time to go on vacation, relax, self-soothe, do the things that make you feel good, that remind you of your inner child. This is such a beautiful, beautiful month for that. Now, like I said, traveling and stuff too, getting into getting your philosopher on, getting your philosopher on, getting your teacher on. This is a really great month to take a program, a course, get a mentor, things like this, and also realize where you've been your own teacher and where you've been your own mentor. I talked about that in the 2025 year ahead horoscopes, because again, Mars rules Aries. So Mars rules this opposition that's happening here. Pretty much, it's putting itself in this challenge for us to figure something out here, for us to learn something from it here. So, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a challenge. Yes, we may feel pulled in two directions. Oppositions are mirrors. They're basically, two ends of a spectrum that are pulling us between polarity until we integrate the lesson that's in between them. And the lesson in between them is how influenced do we allow ourselves to be by others versus what our own desires are, what our own ambitions, philosophical ideas, concepts, etc. are. And how do we integrate that on a day-to-day basis, even though others may not understand or, whatever the case may be. So that's going to be the name of the game this month. Now, the other part of this month is the Virgo new moon we'll have on the 23rd. I'll be doing a video about that, and the Aquarius full moon this month where I go deeper into that. But that's going to be a massive new chapter that starts forming in our 2nd house. And I mean massive. We may not feel it right around the new moon, but we will feel it moving into September because we will be going through eclipse season. So this is a massive new chapter, especially Mars, after Mars just got out of there, cleared a ton of old karma, perfectionistic tendencies, old critiques and all of that. It's going to be a really, I think, beautiful new time of improving our self-esteem, our abilities, our capabilities, seeing what's possible, grounding ourselves into routines on a day-to-day basis that really, help us and improve us, and updating and improving our skill sets and our finances. Then on the 25th, something really exciting is happening. Venus is going to move into Leo, our 1st house. So even though Virgo season is going to be starting, we're going to have Venus then moving into Leo, where I think this is going to be a really beautiful time. So August, with the sun and Mercury moving through Leo, is about reclamation of self-expression in a lot of ways. Really learning to express ourselves again, learning to kind of just be ourselves again, embody who we are and speak our truths. when Venus moves in at the end of August, that's when we're going to be feeling like, just in so many ways, like not only are we embodied in it and speaking it, but we're going to want to artistically express it in some way. So changing our style, changing our hair, working on our beauty, our body, our appearance, like expressing it in that way as well. Really falling in love with ourselves and like kind of transforming like how we show up in the world, how we appear in the world, doing more things that we love, falling in love with ourselves again. Like it's going to be a really beautiful time for that. So all in all, this month, my lovely Leo risings, this is a month full of a lot of really bold changes and truths. Bold self-expression, coming back into authenticity with ourselves after a time of a lot of healing and clearing out the past and letting go of past karmas and putting the pieces of ourselves back together. Working on what we want to create in terms of like our social situations with Mars and Libra, changing our environments on a day-to-day basis, changing what's going on around us, how we are viewing things, how we are seeing things, our inner dialogue. I think of like Mars and Libra, third house, starting to create rituals on a day-to-day basis where like maybe you play certain types of like podcasts or videos and like really are working on your mindset around things and bringing your spiritual ideals and concepts, from the ninth house, like down to earth to create more peace and harmony in your day-to-day life, to like really kind of harmonize a lot of these internal conflicts, but also external conflicts in our day-to-day life, and take action and hold our standards and set boundaries and speak our truth on a day-to-day basis. We could find ourselves feeling a bit more bold and controversial, and just maybe we're posting more online, maybe we're working on a podcast, maybe we're wanting to beautify, something that we're already doing on a day-to-day basis in some way. And so this month is definitely about pretty much all of that. I really like this month. I'm excited for this month, and I like this month for us. Let me know down below if you feel like that's going to land, if you can already see a lot of these things possibly coming in the month ahead. Keep updated with this throughout the month. Like, come back to it and watch it. Let me know how it's relating. I love you, my fellow Leo risings. Comment down below, sexy Leo rising, because you are, if you watched all the way here. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye. Alrighty, my Virgo risings, how are we doing? Welcome to your August horoscope for the month ahead in 2025. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. We are going through some exciting things in the month of August. I think that this month is a really powerful month for you as a Virgo rising, and I think it will definitely bring a lot of change. And I really think some positive and evolutionary change for you guys. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go ahead and pull my chart up on the screen so you should be able to see it now. So first off, coming into the month of August, we are in Leo season, and we have a Mercury retrograde going on in your 12th house. Now, Mercury is your chart ruler. Therefore, this is a big deal. You're probably really feeling this Mercury retrograde, and with it being in your 12th house, it's really having you address certain things going on behind the scenes with you. Okay, certain aspects of yourself that maybe you keep a bit more private or out of the limelight, aspects of yourself that tend to get you into some sticky situations, maybe that are somewhat self-sabotaging, old kind of karmic aspects to your personality, or the way that you kind of, are perceiving yourself or perceiving things in your life. This is going to be huge. Maybe repressed truths, repressed, things that you want to say that you never got to say, repressed confidence, repressed ambition, repressed, self-esteem. Potentially also where your ego can sometimes get the better of you, or where you can allow your anger or your emotions to kind of cause you to run away from things, when you feel things too strongly, or when you feel things in your heart and it really hurts and it causes you to back away or distance yourself. And these are different aspects of what you could be noticing coming into August. You could have already been noticing them at the end of July as well. But either way here, you're definitely doing some internal reflection this month and really reclaiming some silent, repressed parts of yourself. Maybe facing some shame within, some feelings of not being good enough or not fitting in or kind of standing out, some repressed feelings of competition, etc. Either way, there is something going on here where it's like you've got to look within and see your own sense of specialty. You've got to see your own sense of enoughness and worthiness. And that's likely why you may be experiencing some of the situations that you are. This could be in work, you know, with other people, whatever. There could be something kind of mirroring back to you, this feeling of, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I'm just like everybody else, and, this, that, and the other. And both can be, like, you can be like everybody else and you can be special at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And this is kind of the Leo Aquarian axis. Like, I feel like, you could be kind of sticking out of like your team at work in some way, or, being treated like you are, not special or not enough or not seen or not appreciated in some way. And I think this is, if this is happening to you, this is to show you that you first have to see yourself. Okay. You first have to see yourself. You first have to see your own gifts, your own talents. If it's bothering you, it means that you have some kind of wound there, and that wound is what you have to bring into fullness. You have to bring into wholeness. Now, you could notice that these situations may even seem a bit karmic, with it being the 12th house here. It's like you're revisiting some, like, maybe karmic lessons in some way, shape, or form. Either way, though, you have to embody your truth and know your truth within. You have to know and feel your worthiness from within before you can express it outwardly. And that is so much what August, coming into August is really all about. Now, on top of that, the other big thing about August, other than that, is another opposition that we're having. And that is with Mars in Libra, moving into Libra in your second house here. So your decisions and your actions and your mindsets and your dynamics and relational dynamics around what you have to offer, what you have to give, what you're working with, your capabilities, your finances, your values, your assets, your resources, versus independence, being independent. And so, like, what I could see here for some of you is like, and obviously this is just an example, I'm not saying this is what it's going to be like for everybody, or this is what it is like for everybody, is like, maybe you've been, maybe you got a new job, right? And you get the new job and you feel like you just don't quite fit into the team. You feel like, you know what, I just work better on my own. Like, I work better in private, doing like my own thing. I am not good with all this like teamwork stuff. And, you keep working though, but you're just not a very social person. And then some other new person that started after you gets a raise and you don't. And it makes you start looking at this like Mars in the second here. Like, okay, like, what the hell? Like, is this even, like, why did they get a raise? And you feel kind of emotionally attached to it, right? Venus now moving through your 11th house of other people, social situations. You feel kind of emotionally attached to it, and you're like, well, damn, like, I'm sitting here compromising what I really desire financially for this job, and I feel unappreciated, and really, like, I just want to do my own thing, and I want to be independent, make my own money, or have my own business, and like, yada, yada, yada. And that's fine. This could be showing you that, yeah, maybe you're compromising maybe you are settling in some way, shape, or form. But at the end of the day, if this whole job situation is really bothering you and making you feel in any way not good enough, and it's a feeling that you're avoiding, it's a feeling that you're going to need to face. Okay, that you're going to need to bring into integration, a feeling that you're going to need to love for you to be able to move forward. Until that part of you that feels not good enough, or that feels insecure, that feels left out, can be truly integrated, then, like, you're going to keep facing this situation in some form or another. You can go start the business, and then, you face a similar situation. And so that's kind of what this energy is about right now. But it's also showing you, it's like, once you can face those things, it's also very much showing you what you're capable of here in terms of your dreams, your job, your career, because Mars is going to be setting up this grand air trine with Pluto and Uranus. And so it's like, if you can, really kind of integrate these different skill sets that you have, if you can see what you're good at, if you can see what's special about you and also what's different about you and blend the two together, that is when you find freedom in this whole situation and it all starts falling apart. And you realize that like it is your thoughts more than anything that hold you back from the things that you desire or the financial situation that you desire to be in. It is not, other people. Okay, like that's when you're starting to give your power away. And so for you to gain the financial independence or the independence that you desire in whichever way, it's like you have got to face, sorry about that, you've got to face, Mars and Libra first. Mars and Libra rules Aries, where it's opposing right now. So it's like you've got to be able to like integrate both. Okay, it's not one extreme or the other. Like it's pulling you in between, like, do I continue to compromise my resources or share or like whatever the case may be, or compromise my values or my financial situation or like my living situation, like whatever it is, or do I go off on my own and take some kind of risk or whatever? And so you could be really feeling the pull between two different polarities, two ends of the spectrum, but it's really about integrating the lesson in between, not one or the other. So it's going to be really important for you to remember that this on a month like this, because it's huge. And then also we have an Aquarius full moon happening here in your 6th house right around the 9th of August. And this is definitely kind of the buildup of all these different tensions in the first few weeks of August, kind of coming to a peak with this Aquarius full moon of, okay, it's time to really release and see the truth about whatever this work situation is, or it could even be a health situation for some of you if it's not a work situation. It's like there's something here that is going on with your day-to-day duties and responsibilities and other people, health, wellness, job, etc., that needs to be faced, that needs to be released, that needs to be integrated here. And I think once you do, you will find that you have a whole different outlook on the whole situation in general. So just keep that in mind. And so, yeah, so like that's kind of like, those are kind of like the main themes of the month here. If you're a Virgo rising, let's kind of go over them one by one now and organize it a little bit more for you. So I know that was kind of all over the place. So basically on the 6th, we start off with Mars in Libra, and it finally moves out of your sign, which is probably going to feel really good. You've probably, even though it's probably been somewhat productive and improved a lot of things for you in terms of your health, your body, your appearance, like understanding your body and taking the actions that you needed to take with those things over the last month. It's also probably showed you a lot of karmic things about yourself to do with criticism, perfectionism, improvement, needing to fix things or needing things to be a certain way with yourself, or where you can become somewhat like finicky or over analytical with your body or your health or your appearance or whatever. And so there's been a lot of releasing of karma there with your identity and your body and all of that over the last couple of months. So now with Mars moving into Libra, a lot of that finally is done. And now there is this energy of, again, where do you need to find peace in your life with your decisions regarding your own capabilities, your own self-esteem, your own sense of, what you're able to do, your finances, your assets, your resources, your values. Like the 2nd house is what we use to survive. Like the natural ingrained kind of like capabilities that we have to kind of survive. And so it's like coming to terms with some truths and some decisions about these things, but also where these things may affect others or where you compromise on a lot of these things to keep the peace in a situation. Could also be the case as well. But there's going to be a lot of mirroring here because that's how it always is with anything moving through Libra. And again, Mars is going to start opposing Saturn and Neptune. So it's like these big ideals and concepts and, ways of thinking that you once had about your financial situation or being independent or having your own things or pioneering a new path financially or going after and being ambitious, with you know, things that you desire, things that you want, maybe like starting your own business or self-employment or like whatever. It's like these things are really coming into play starting on the 6th and for like the next few days after. There may be some kind of tension here that kind of puts like a spark under your ass and is like, okay, it's time to start moving on these things, or it's time to start setting better boundaries, or it's time to start making some decisions about this stuff. And yeah, so that's going to be very, very apparent, right, you know, from the 6th until about like the 11th. And so then on the 9th is when we have that Aquarius full moon in your 6th, again, bringing up that kind of closure or bringing something to light in terms of your job, your health, your day-to-day routines. I'll be doing a separate full video on that. And then on the 11th, Mercury will finally move direct, which will feel really good for you as a Virgo rising. But it's going to be pretty close to an opposition with Pluto in your 6th. And so again, this brings up those same kind of topics of that I was talking about in the beginning of like knowing inside of yourself who you are and what you're capable of, and you're being like having that sense of self-love from within, radiating from within. Versus like fitting in with other people or fitting in with a team or fitting in within like your day-to-day routines, you know, work, job, health, etc. And feeling a bit like you may be in a power struggle, and this may be a good time to like speak your truth or integrate, again, these two different extremes here. And so that happens right around the 10th and 11th. You could feel that for a few days leading up to it or a few days after. And then on the 11th as well, Venus and Jupiter will come into a conjunction. And this can be really good for like friendships and other like social groups and situations that you're kind of a part of that have a shared similar, you know, goal or interest or hobby or whatever behind them. So it's like you could be like outside of all that, like actually making friends or feeling more attracted to a certain community of people, or more like, you know, like more, what's the word I'm looking for? More inspired, more, you know, socially inclined around this time, doing things with people that feel like family or that feel comfortable. It's going to be a really, really great time for that. There could be like a really positive connection happening here with other people or another person. And then on the 22nd, the sun will move into your sign and your season will begin. And this is where all of that 12th house work that you've been doing in Leo really starts to express itself through you. This is where you really start to embody it and express it and exert it. And then on the 23rd, we'll have the new moon in your sign as well, kind of starting a new chapter there. And again, I'm going to do a whole video on that. And then last but not least, on the 25th, Venus is going to then move into Leo, your 12th house. And this is where I think you really start integrating a lot of what you've been going through the last couple of months with, you know, the transits in Leo. Venus really helps you bring them together and find pleasure in them and joy in them and integrate them, and really helps you to find that self-love and that like inner confidence within again. So anyway, so that's what I'm saying for you, Virgo risings. All in all, like my big advice to you is to, number one, stay out of really messy financial situations or any situation that involves you being attached to other people this month. Okay. I don't think it would be too bad, because all in all, Venus rules Mars and detriment in Libra, and Venus is with Jupiter and Cancer chilling. So I think all in all, it would probably end up being fine. But if you can, I wouldn't get involved in like if somebody, you know, I don't know, pulls you into some kind of drama financially, like I would try to stay out of it. Also, you know, the second thing is really doing that inner work on yourself, that inner identity work or that inner child work, or like really integrating all of the different puzzle pieces of your inner self that need to be integrated or wanting to be integrated, that may be getting triggered or brought up through various situations right now in your life. What are these parts saying to you? What are these situations trying to show you about what's going on inside of you that may be affecting your confidence or your self-esteem, or really making decisions and speaking your truth and standing up for yourself? Or, you know, where are you still living kind of in the past, like, you know, over analyzing old decisions that you've made or old financial, lessons that it's time to kind of let go of. It's time to kind of find peace with your decisions, and even if they've affected your finances or whatever the case may be. Okay. So where are you over compromising, financially? Where are you allowing, other people to kind of dictate what you're doing or what you want to do, or your actions in some way, shape, or form? Also, where do you feel like you're not fitting into a certain team or environment or whatever? And where do you need to face some wounds around rejection or alienation, or, just not feeling a part of, or not feeling like you belong, while also, finding other places where you belong as well. So those are the different things for this month. Virgo risings, let me know down below how that ends up resonating for you. Come back and check in throughout the month and let me know what you think, and let me know if it ends up landing. I'd love to hear your feedback. Comment down below, sexy Virgo rising, if you watched until here, because you are. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Alrighty, Libra risings, welcome to your August 2025 horoscope video. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. And I hope July was a refreshing month for you and really brought a lot of expansive and evolutionary things into your career, and brought a lot of insight regarding all of that. Now we are moving into August, and August is a much more social and interactive time for you. But there are some really, really powerful and impactful lessons coming in August, and it's a really powerful month for you as well because Mars is going to be moving into your sign. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my chart up on the screen here so you can see it. So first and foremost, we are in Leo season now. And so there is a shift in awareness and focus that really starts going into, like, what are your ambitions? What are your aspirations? And who's your tribe? Who are the people that you want to surround yourself with? Who are the people that are going to help you get there? Who are the people that you can hang around and collaborate to, like calibrate to, right? Like, where in terms of like, I'm sure you've heard the whole saying, like, you are who you hang out with. This is kind of a month like that. This is kind of a month like, okay, who do you want to be around? Who are you? And therefore, what kind of people do you want to be around? And I think you're going to be thinking a lot about this with Mercury retrograding here as we enter August. It's like, who are your people? And what social situations or what people in your life are no longer really aligned with you? Okay? Where have you been maybe struggling, trying to fit in by repressing certain parts of you? Or where have you been like needing to be more authentic and bold in your words and in your actions, and needing to express more of who you are, but there's been this huge fear of rejection or alienation, or feeling different, or feeling like, well, I'm not a part of that, or this is the way everybody else does it, but that's not the way that I want to do it. I want to go my own way. And this is why I always use the term alien, because I have an Aquarius, moon, and I have dealt with a lot of these wounds like throughout my whole life. And I think that when you kind of accept that you are different and that you are going to have your own way, so was like Prince, so was Michael Jackson, so was Elvis, like so was so many different legendary people. They took something and they made it their own. They went their own way. And when you can accept those differences about yourself, when you can accept those things that you think make you weird or an outcast or an exile or like whatever, and you flaunt them with that Leo energy, you shine a light on them, and you aren't scared to express them, that is when you truly can make the biggest difference. That is when you truly will feel the most in sync with yourself, and you can bring those deeper parts of you that really yearn for connection and yearn to be related to the surface. And then your people naturally will be attracted to you because of who you're embodying, because you're embodying yourself, right? And so that is kind of like a huge, 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 huge part of this month. with this Leo Aquarian axis that we're on right now. Now, the other huge thing, like I said, is Mars is moving into your sign and out of your 12th house. You've had to clear a lot of karmic shit around like perfectionism and improvement and, you know, constantly fixing things or needing things to be a certain way that has been self-sabotaging you and likely holding you back very, very much so creatively. And it's like, I feel like it's hitting me. It's all hitting me. Let me know if I'm right about what I'm about to say. Okay. I feel like I got it. I feel like you have, as a Libra rising, something in you that wants to come out. Okay. I feel like it's like you want to give birth. Oh, yes. Venus and Jupiter and Cancer. Oh my God. This is like so fitting right now. I feel like you want to give birth to either yourself, a more truer, authentic part of yourself, or you want to create something else that is out of the realm of what other people are doing or what other people around you are doing or what you've seen possible or whatever. But it's like you are holding either yourself in or you're holding yourself back. One of the two, because you have these like overbearing perfectionistic tendencies that cause you to like procrastinate and not actually trust your creative processes. Okay. Now, a lot of this is 12th and 6th, so this isn't just creative. This can also be health and work related as well, where it's like you need to trust your body and your energy and your emotions and get into some kind of routine that helps you continue to do that, to trust your body, energy, and emotions. But this Virgo South Node is like, well, it has to be this way, or I was told it needs to be this way, or it needs some kind of structure or rules or like whatever. It's like, no, it doesn't need a structure. It just needs to flow. You need to like wake up and decide on a day-to-day basis intuitively what feels right for you. That's Pisces in the 6th house. Like an intuitive diet, for instance, rather than like something that you read in a book that somebody else did. You know, like this is kind of the way. And I feel like you keep self-sabotaging yourself with these old patterns of perfectionism or it needing to be the right way or the efficient way. And it's like, no, like you don't, you know, like if it's not the right way, oh, well, you know, like when something's new, when people create legendary stuff, it's not because they did it the right way. It's because they did it a new way. It's original, right? This is like all to do with also pioneering a new path, you know, with all of this Aries energy that we have. So I feel like there's something that is changing here for you and how you're seeing your life and how you're seeing your future and what you want to create in the world. It's like you are maybe downloading something or have channeled something or there's something that you really, really desire to do, but it's like you are putting so many limitations on yourself or you are allowing what others are doing or your intimidation of others to hold you back, or you are allowing what potential criticisms or what people might think or what is going to be cool and popular and what isn't to hold you back. And I think that that's bullshit. And for some of you, like it could even just be like a healing journey that you're on, right? Like maybe you're on a healing journey and it doesn't look like everybody else's and like you want to kind of detach from what everybody else is doing, but like, you know, you're kind of scared to do that. Like it could be so many different things. I'm not exactly 100% sure what it is. I feel like for a lot of you, it's some kind of like creative or career type thing. I feel like for others of you, it's like yourself. It's like repressing yourself and realizing like that the way that you have been seeing other people and certain relationships in your life, like this is so relational right now. If you're a Libra rising, like you have all this Leo in the 11th house, Mercury retrograding there, all this Aries in the 7th house. Like there's so much going on right now to do with relationships for you. And then boom, Mars enters your sign on August 6th and starts opposing this Neptune-Saturn conjunction. And it's like the rule book that you have been playing by in terms of relationships. The concept of a relationship is completely being dismantled this year, starting this year, but really it's really going to come next year. And so Mars now moving into your sign and opposing this is like, okay, well, instead of trying to, you know, figure out what other people are doing or looking at other people, we need to look at ourselves and we need to find the peace within ourselves. It's like maybe you've been so focused on some kind of conflict or confrontation or edginess or hard situation that's been going on outside of you in relationships. And it's like, okay, before you can focus on that, like you've got to find the peace within yourself because you're not listening to yourself. Whatever you fight, you feed. Okay? Whatever you fight, you feed. Whatever conflict that you avoid externally, you create internally. Mars moving in your sign as a Libra rising is a time where you are really going to be speaking your truth. Not like you're going to notice this polarity coming up of where you settle and you don't speak your truth and you compromise your truth to keep the peace versus where you need to speak your truth. You are not responsible for other people's opinions, feelings, and perceptions. And I know as a Libra, it can feel that way. I'm a Libra sun, so I get it. Like it can feel like, oh, well, I know what these people are thinking or going to think, or I know how they're going to react, or I don't want to seem rude to them, or I don't want to that's not your job. You're not here to micromanage everybody else's perception of you or everybody else's emotions. You're not here to do that. Okay? Like you are here to be yourself and make decisions that align with your own truth and allow other people to deal with their emotions. Like they're adults, hopefully, most of the time, unless you have children, right? And then that's a little bit different, but also you got to teach them to deal with their emotions as well, right? We cannot tiptoe around other people's potential feelings about what we're thinking or doing or want to do. That's not living, right? We're existing as a reaction at that point. And so Mars in your sign is going to mirror to you through yourself where you have not been keeping the peace within, okay? Where you've not been keeping yourself in check, where there are different sides of you in conflict that you need to integrate and find the middle ground with. So it's where have you not been asserting yourself in a relationship? Where have you not been focused on you? Where have you not been, putting your energy into the things that you love? Where have you been too focused on others or relationships or whatever? Where have you been holding yourself in to avoid controversy? Or, it's you're here to embody two sides. Two things can be true at once. It doesn't have to be one extreme or the other, or one end of the spectrum or the other. The lesson is somewhere in between, and you're here to embody that as Mars moves into your sign. And that's where you're going to find the most peace. You can have both. And so that's so much what this is about. Now, on top of this, this relates to your career because Venus, your chart ruler, is in Cancer in the month of August in your career sector, in your 10th house. And so this is so much about you really figuring out what it is that you want and desire for your future. I really feel like you could have some future self, stuff going on here. But this is really what do you want and desire for your future, for your career? What do you want to be known as? What do you want to be seen as? What do you want to do in the world? How do you want to help people? What is on your heart in terms of what you're here to create? And so Mars in Libra in your sign is being ruled by Venus in your 10th. And she's what are you willing? Can you make peace with yourself so you can actually evolve into the things that you want? And so it's time to decide. It's time to get off the fence, so to say. And it's time to really figure out what's integrate these parts of you and start embodying that and expressing that rather than fearing that or running from that or worried about what everybody else is going to think about it. Okay, so that's really what I'm seeing here overall for you this month, Libra. Now let's go over the transits really quick, one by one. So like I said, on the 6th, Mars moves into your sign and will be in your sign for the rest of the month. But from about the 6th to the 11th is when it will be opposing Saturn and Neptune in your 7th. This could bring up some tension and some change or a pivot or something happening with you and another person, or you and your relationships, or just you and your ideals about a relationship could be changing around this time, and it could be very pivotal for you. Okay? Now, on top of that, Mars is also going to be creating a grand air trine with Uranus and Pluto right when it moves in on the 6th, and again for the first few days after the 6th. Which are, Pluto's in your 5th, Uranus is in your 9th. These are big dog planets. So Pluto creating this grand trine here shows me that there is something really, really inspiring and social going on in terms of the things that you're finding interest in terms of the things that you're passionate about. It's you are being almost ignited, or there's something that is really, really piquing your interest around this time. And it's you are feeling understood, or you're feeling like this is what I want to do. Like, you know, this subject is the subject that I want to focus on, or that I want to teach, or that I want to learn more about. And this passion is the passion that I feel very deeply is super important and powerful to me right now. And this is really, really helping you like create and find the things that inspire you, and really shifting your mind about things, and really shifting how you're seeing things. And so that's going to be a really positive transit for that. Now, on top of that, we also have the Aquarius full moon happening here in your 5th house on the 9th, which I'm going to do a whole separate video on, but there's some kind of really powerful moment and, you know, something coming to light here to do with, again, your 5th house of your passions, children, the things that you are very interested in, and the ways in which you have fun and find pleasure and joy in your life. Now, on the 11th, Mercury is going to finally move forward and finish teaching you these lessons involving friendships and your social life and social groups and organizations that you belong to and all of that. But it's going to go direct, almost opposing Pluto in your 5th. So this is also a big kind of pivotal shift, a pivotal change of this power struggle that may have been going on with you and other people, or within you about other people, or again, where do I fit in? Is this for me? Can I be myself in this situation? Like facing certain fears of rejection or alienation. This is going to be a really huge shift of that. And I think it's going to be like you really realizing the power that you hold in terms of your talents and passions, and the power that they hold, and that you don't need to, you know, be like everybody else or do it the way everybody else does it. And that's okay. This isn't a popularity contest. Okay. Then on the 11th, Venus and Jupiter are going to get together and conjunct in your 10th house. This is a really, really benefic and powerful conjunction. And again, you being Venus ruled, Venus being your chart ruler, this is even more powerful. So this is really like a really evolutionary like time in terms of your career. You could be feeling super optimistic, super expansive. It's like something that you want, something that you love, something that you desire is coming together with like this sense of optimism and like expansion and evolution. It's like your concepts and the ways that you're viewing your career are changing, and it's a really, really positive thing. And so that's happening around the 11th, but you could feel that on the days leading up to it. On the 22nd, the sun's going to move into your 12th house of Virgo. Again, more of a self-reflective time around this time. Once the sun moves into your 12th house, you may notice that you need to take some time for yourself, or you need to take some time to focus on some things behind the scenes that need your attention. This would be a really good time to take a break. This would be a really good time to kind of get your ducks in a row and all of that. Go on vacation, maybe, you know, relax, and kind of get out of the spotlight for a little bit and focus on whatever's going on behind the scenes that needs your attention. Now, on top of that, we'll have a new moon in your 12th house on the 23rd. Again, I'll do a whole video on that, but that's some kind of new chapter starting in your 12th. And then Venus, your ruling planet, will move into Leo on August 25th, which is going to be really exciting. I think this is going to really show you what you truly desire, what you truly want in terms of social situations and a lot of these social, you know, topics that you've been dealing with. Like Venus moving into your 11th is going to be like way more you integrating these lessons, since Venus is your chart ruler with all of this social stuff. So that is what I am seeing for you, Libra rising. So let me know down below how that ended up resonating and what you feel like will resonate for this month. I'd love to hear your feedback down below. Comment down below, sexy Libra rising, if you watched until here. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Alrighty, Scorpio risings. Welcome to your August 2025 horoscope for the month ahead. August is a feisty one. She is very, very different than July. She's definitely bringing a bit more tension and some spiciness to the mix. definitely a lot of room for growth and transformation. And I think August is really provoking you as a Scorpio rising in a lot of ways to rise to your potential, to really rise into what you're really capable of, including your long-term goals, including your career, your job, your health, including, letting go of old habits, old tendencies that are self-sabotaging, and really to trust your true creative intuition. I think that is really what the month of August is about. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to put my chart up on the screen. You should be able to see it now. So basically, August is a month that is really focused on this 10th house area for you as a Scorpio rising. Like, this is your 10th house. This is Leo. This is like, okay, like, what am I capable of? Like, I'm here to create something in this world. I'm here to be seen. I'm here to make an impact. I'm here to show off my talents and my gifts and be an example and step into some kind of leadership, right? But it's like, it appears as if there is something here, especially at the end of July and moving into August, that is maybe going on behind the scenes or with your roots or with your home life or from the past. It's like there's something from the past that may have been haunting you, or something from childhood, or something going on in your family, or something going on behind the scenes where it's like, I don't know. And I don't know if I can face that. Or this thing has some kind of hold over you or power over you, or it's keeping you stuck. And it's like the best way that you can face this is by bringing light to it, right? And I mean, this is so interesting. Like, Pluto in Aquarius is like something, Pluto is dark, right? It's the farthest planet that we can see. And so Leo's the opposite. It's light. It's like, bring things to light, take up space, show who you are, And so I really think that whatever this is that you're going through internally or behind the scenes or with family, or like whatever fears or paranoia this is, or whatever old wounds from the past this is, like, this is about you really facing this, especially this month. Okay, this is about you finally facing this, you finally integrating this so you can step into this like full Leo potential and be more of your authentic self and shine more in your career space. That's so much what this is about. Now, for some of you, this could be taking place in a like real life situation where maybe you're dealing with a boss, right? You're dealing with some kind of boss or some kind of manager or some kind of authority figure that is also somehow triggering, like this old stuff for you, whether they're old secrets or old buried traumas or, chaos going on at home or in your family or like whatever. It's like forcing you to kind of like, because here's the thing. If you're not okay with whatever this is with Pluto and Aquarius, then you're going to attract other situations that are also like, making you feel not okay with it. So it's like you've got to come to some kind of like understanding of this Pluto in your 4th house, whatever it may be, whether again, it's like a trauma or a situation or past things, like skeletons in your closet, family stuff, whatever. You've got to become aware of it and you've got to like integrate it so that you can move forward and that you can no longer allow this to have power over you. Okay, maybe it's some way that you live. Maybe it's a living situation. Maybe it's a, a situation that involves, a lot of fear or control or power, or you're just giving it a lot of power. Okay, now on top of this month is also about Mars moving into your 12th house and really going to have you confronting stuff going on that you have not wanted to look at, okay? And a lot of that, with it being Libra, is like going to be your shadow side. It's going to be uncomfortable truths that you have not wanted to face, and ways that you have been like over compromising, and where it's like time to finally face these things because it's self-sabotaging in some way. Like the 12th house is like self-sabotage. It's suffering. It is old karmas. And so Mars moving into your 12th house is really coming up to say, okay, it's time to face these things and get honest about these things and find peace with these things so that we can face the dreams that we have and the, discipline that we want to have in our work or in our health or in our wellness. We can't do that if we have all these loose boundaries. We can't do that if we're constantly like hiding something or like, not making decisions from a place of truth in some way, shape, or form. Okay. Now, these are kind of the challenges of the month. But what is here to help you in a lot of ways is this Venus-Jupiter conjunction. If you can stay true to your principles, your beliefs, if you can connect with your spirituality, with your higher sense of what you're doing here on this planet, with a sense of purpose, with your intuition, I think that's going to really, really help you. Now, Mars is also creating this kind of kite here. Well, a lot of planets are creating the kite, but this kite is kind of being created here where you are able to kind of reach this authentic truth and this potential that you have of the things that you desire to do in the world, the things that you desire for your life, the way that you desire to live your life. You can reach that if you can also integrate whatever's going on down here, okay, whatever's going on that, is more personal or private or whatever. If you can integrate, whatever conflicts are going on behind the scenes in your 12th, and then also Uranus here in your 8th. So whatever situations that are karmically tying you to other people, or it could be financial related, it could be old debts, and it doesn't just have to be financial, it could be karmic debts. It's like this is a month where it's time to even the score. And I don't mean that in some egotistical way of like you trying to prove yourself or something. I mean that as like you no longer running from whatever it is that you've been fighting. So, and like I've been using the quote a lot, like whatever you fight, you feed. And that is this month. And that is what this month is trying to show you. If you are fighting something, you are just giving that something more power. You are saying that that thing has power and it's uncomfortable. Therefore, I don't want to feel it. I don't want to deal with it. And so it keeps you in a state of confrontation and conflict. And it continues to give the very thing that you're fighting against more power. Therefore, you've got to face it. Okay. And so I think this month is like a huge identity upgrade for you in a lot of ways, because again, Mars is your chart ruler. So whatever Mars is doing is really important to you and is going to be really felt by you. But I also think this is about who do you want to be? Okay. You could get like a lot of future self, downloads and stuff this month as well. But who do you want to be in the grand scheme of things? Who do you want to be in the world? Are you that person behind the scenes and in your daily life? And if not, why not? What needs to change? What is holding you back from your goals, your responsibilities, your duties? Where have you, again, been over compromising or not making a decision and therefore not moving forward? Where have you been on the fence about things subconsciously and therefore it's been holding you up in your life? That is going to be a huge part of this month for you, with Mars moving through Libra in your 12th house. This is the time to get kind of clear on which way like you're leaning. And there can be sometimes where it's like, you know what? Actually, I was making this into a conflict and it didn't even need to be a conflict. It's just, I want both things. It doesn't need to be one thing or the other, right? There can be situations like that too that we find a lot with Mars and Libra. And so it's like whatever you've been fighting, in your day-to-day life or with health, work, wellness, it's like it's coming to be faced this month. And it's not to piss you off. It's not to put a wrench in your plans or whatever. I still think this month can be very powerful and beneficial. It's more so to help you upgrade. Like this is the way. Whatever challenge you're dealing with this month is literally what you're supposed to be dealing with. Okay. Like that is the path forward. It's like so often we see the challenge that falls in front of us as a distraction or something that's taking us off of our path. But it's like, no, that's the very challenge. That is the next portal, the next door opening for you to keep going on this path. Okay. And so it's like when you can learn to embrace challenge and kind of see it in this higher way as not something that is there to deter you, but that is something there to evolve you. That is when you truly set yourself free of needing everything to be, a certain way for you to be comfortable or for you to feel good or, whatever the case may be. And so we have a lot of oppositions this month, but they're really just creating mirrors. They're trying to show us the middle lesson here. they're trying to show us the lesson that's in between these different areas of life where we feel pulled between, kind of escaping or hanging out with friends or being social or whatever, but then that pulls us away from our own individual goals and desires and ambitions and the things that we know that we need to be doing, or the habits that we know that are healthy for us, right? We feel pulled to focus on something that's going on with, family or people that we care about, but then that pulls us away, we feel, from, our long-term goals and being seen and putting ourselves out there and creating the lives that we want. And so it's like this month isn't about one or the other necessarily. It's about the lessons that you find when you deal with duality like this. And I just want you to remember that this month, because this is a very powerful month for you with your 12th and 6th activated and then your 10th and 4th activated. This is like really kind of changing your foundation, changing it's really an opportunity for you to be more of yourself. Really, that's what it is. It's an opportunity for you to be more of yourself, for you to be different and have, certain dark things going on at home or in your past, and for you to take that difference and bring it into the world and be you, and not allow that to, be a distraction in some way, or not allow that to be separate from yourself in some way. I mean, it's also like, okay, there's some truths and decisions and some things that I need to get clear on, some other sides that I need to see that have been kind of self-sabotaging me behind the scenes. And also, I'm going to take action and do what I know I need to do to focus on my goals and discipline and what I want for myself in terms of health, wellness, and work on a day-to-day basis in my routines. And so that's really kind of the story for this month. And, a lot of it is really pointing to career and work and health for you. And it's like, again, who do you want to be? Who are you? Who are you being? And when you put things off or you avoid things because it's challenging or whatever the case may be, you're robbing yourself that opportunity to evolve. And that's likely why you could feel stuck if you are feeling stuck in some way. Now, also, we have the Venus-Jupiter conjunction this month in Cancer in your 9th house. And this is going to be really beautiful for potentially either being introduced or reintroduced to a new philosophy on life, wanting to see things from a higher perspective, following your intuition, trusting in your intuition, feeling safe in the world just because of your own views, just because of your own higher perspective. This is also a really great month. Well, somewhat of a great month for traveling or introducing a new spiritual belief or a new spiritual practice or a new course or a new educational pursuit. This is going to be really, really good for that. So let's go over the dates here. So Mars moves into Libra on August 6th. And as soon as it does, it's going to trine Uranus and Pluto, creating a grand air trine between your 12th, 8th, and 4th house. These are kind of your private houses. So it's like something is trying to sync up here. There's a revolutionary change that, is dealing with what's going on behind the scenes in your life. The karmic areas of your life between family, your own subconscious realm, and then also your kind of karmic debts and, karmic exchanges, interactions with other people with the 8th. And so either way, there's something really powerful going on here that's trying to kind of click. And it's like through you doing this kind of subconscious clearing out, you start really connecting the dots and being able to deal with this home situation and, upgrading your financial situation simultaneously. Now, also, right when Mars moves in on the 6th, it's also going to start opposing Saturn and Neptune. And so, again, like I said, what challenges or ideals about your life, your health, your wellness, your job are you facing around this time? Especially from the 6th to the 10th there, it's like you're going to be facing off with something, facing off with some ideas, some challenges, some old illusions about the way things need to go, or some old rule book about how it all should be. But you're also going to be seeing where you've avoided facing certain things, or where you've avoided conflict, or where you need to bring two different sides together, and, where you may be like, kind of looking at your shadow self in some way, or some self-sabotaging behavior some way. Now, on the 9th, we're going to have the Aquarius full moon happening in your 4th house. I think this is going to be a really powerful full moon that's going to be about some kind of closure, really bringing light and revealing something, but also closing out something from the past, or something to do with home, family, and your personal life. And that's going to be really powerful. I'm going to do a whole separate video on that. And then on the 11th, Mercury is going to go direct in Leo, but as it goes direct, it's going to be in a very close opposition with Pluto in your 4th. Again, right around that Aquarius full moon, a couple days later, it's like whatever is closing out there, it's like there's one more final kind of like perception shift, or communication that needs to happen, or like conversation that needs to happen. Like something is really, really changing dramatically in the way that you are moving forward, and also seeing your career, your future, your long-term goals, with Mercury opposing Pluto, and also the way that you're seeing your past, your home and family situation. Now, on the 11th as well, Venus and Jupiter will come into their conjunction in your 9th house. Again, this is going to be really positive, benefic, and like evolutionary for your philosophical beliefs, your spiritual beliefs, like where you find a sense of meaning and purpose in your life, educational pursuits, travel, etc. Then on the 23rd, we have a new moon in the sign of Virgo, starting some kind of new chapter here in your 11th house of social situations. And then on the 25th, we're going to have Venus moving into the sign of Leo in your 10th house, where she will really kind of, I think, help bring together and integrate and harmonize a lot of the lessons that you learn in the beginning of this month. And so once Venus moves in there, it's like she has a softer touch to everything. And she wants to bring things together. So she's going to, I think, really decorate it all up in a way that starts feeling more smooth, and that starts feeling and looking a lot better for you. So that is what is happening in the month of August, Scorpio risings. Let me know down below how that is relating with you guys. I'd love to hear your feedback on this and hear what's going on with you guys, and if you think this is going to relate, if you could, and also what you think some of these challenges may be centered around for you in the month of August. Come back throughout the month as well and update me, and comment down below, sexy Scorpio rising, if you watch till here, because you are, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Alrighty, Sag risings, welcome to your August 2025 horoscope for the month ahead. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to pull your chart up on the screen. It should be up now. So the month of August, like looking at your chart, Sag risings, I really kind of look at this and I really see like this is a month that is like, you know what, there's more to life. Like I just feel that. It's like there's more to life than what I have been kind of programmed to think or programmed to live in. There is more things that I want to explore. There's more adventures I want to have. There's more things I want to learn. There's more things I want to see. There's more things I want to do. There's more that I want to feel and experience and believe in. It's like getting back in touch with your own sense of like why you're here and what your purpose is, and your beliefs around a higher power, and really that sense of like adventure and story and like excitement, and like, you know, finding some kind of new path or new way of doing something, or new beliefs, you know, like it's like there's something that you are really thinking about and contemplating and maybe exploring philosophically even here, or something new that you're wanting to learn, or something that you're coming back to, especially with the Mercury retrograde and your 9th as well. It's like, what do you really believe? What is your soul here to experience, versus what are you experiencing on a human level, right? And so there's a lot of that polarity this month of like, wanting to experience something on like a higher level, on like a higher plane, versus what you're experiencing on a human plane. Like another way I could see this playing out, that's not saying this will be it for everybody, it's more of a metaphor, but I mean, it might literally be your situation too. It's like maybe you're from like a small town, or you're from a place where like a lot of your friends just kind of have the same thinking and like do the same thing over and over again, and you just don't feel like you belong anymore. You just don't feel like you fit in anymore where you're at, and you're like, you know what, I want to explore, or I want to go other places, or I want to have new experiences. Like you're starting to see a bigger potential, I think, for yourself. You're starting to see like something outside of the ordinary, or you're starting to see or not feel like you really fit in with where you're at, or what you've been doing, or the way that you've been living anymore. And this month really ties a lot of this in, because this is a very social month for you. Like Mars is moving into Libra, and it's going to start trining, Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius. And so it's like, who are your people? What do you want? Like where are the people that you want to collaborate with, or that you want to calibrate to? It's like you're kind of being introduced to like a whole new way of thinking, and maybe new different kinds of people, new different kinds of places. And you're really learning to kind of like be more trusting inside of yourself as well, like with the Pisces North Node here in your 4th house. It's like, what's going on with you in your personal life? Do you trust? Are you in flow on like a day-to-day basis? And then also that, Mars is going to be opposing Saturn and Neptune in your 5th house. So it's like, there's like a lot of internal exploration that you've probably realized that you're kind of doing on a year like this. Like there's a lot of like, where is my home? What do I want? Like what is going on with me behind the scenes and in my personal life? And now you're getting kind of more of a taste of, what do I want? Like, like how do I see the world? How do I see my life? Where am I going from here? Like what do I believe? What is my potential? Have I been living up to my potential? Have I been surrounding myself with people that really get it and that really align with my energy, or not? Like things like this could be really, really big on a month like this. You could really notice with Mars and Libra that you run into a lot of people that mirror something back to you, that mirror back, maybe where you compare yourself to others too much, or where you've been seeking validation outside of yourself, or where you have allowed what's peaceful and normal for others to dictate your own choices and actions creatively and with your desires and the things that you want to do. It's like, this is a month to really kind of allow yourself to, number one, let your inner child out and be truthful and authentic, and not just hold it in because it might disturb the peace, but to also be honest about the things that are true for you. Like be honest and bold in your convictions about like, kind of holding the balance or holding the polarity in whatever way. Like you may see like a lot of people with Mars and Libra in your 11th, like, kind of doing certain things to be polite or to fit in or to not rock the boat, but maybe that's not what you're feeling, or that's not who you are. That's not what you want to do. And so it's like you're trying to express yourself and put yourself out there, but like, the way that I see this is almost like you're like a warrior that goes to like a dinner party, and like you're expected to have like all this social etiquette and like, be like socially polite and like fit in and all that. And it's like, this is not me, right? Like, and so anyway, but you're running into these situations to really show you something. It's like, you're being shown something with this that's showing you where you've allowed illusions to be the walls that keep you from moving forward with the things that you truly want and desire in your life. And these people or situations that you encounter really just bring that out. Now, this won't be like this for like everyone, and it won't be like this for all of you all the time this month. Like this is only going to last from like the 6th to like the 10th this month, where you really feel this Libra Aries tension. But it may also be kind of about like I just lost my train of thought, damn it. Where was I going? This may also be kind of about, it may be like triggering where what's actually important to you, right? Like what you do actually stand for, what you do actually want to fight for. You may meet other people that actually do vibe with you, that actually do relate to you. So it could play out in like a lot of different ways, but it could trigger you to finally get off the fence with something, or finally take action on something, you know, to finally share more of your true, raw, real, honest self, or opinions, or thoughts, or like, you know, talents, or whatever, interest, etc. Like that can definitely be the name of the game here for a lot of you this month as Sag risings. It's like, what are you not sharing about yourself? What are you keeping? What are you holding back? What are you keeping in? What old social dynamics are falling apart so new ones can rise? What do you relate to now? What's more in alignment with you now? What's more in alignment with your authentic self? What's more in alignment with your passions, your ambitions? Where is it, like, where are you being triggered to pioneer a new path that may not look like everybody else's? And that's okay, because it's not supposed to. Alrighty, so those are the big themes I'm seeing for you as a Sag rising. Let's go over the dates really quick. So on Mars, or on August 6th, Mars goes into Libra, okay? And that's when it starts opposing Saturn and Neptune, and trining Uranus and Pluto. This is really good socially. It's really bringing a lot of insight socially to your life. It's, you know, whether positive or negative, like, hey, these social situations are not vibing with me anymore, it's time to upgrade them. Or, hey, I finally may have found like certain social situations that I am vibing with, but now I'm seeing where I've had these illusions that, you know, people wouldn't understand me, or that I, like, you know, couldn't do X or Y, and I've been holding myself back, and I'm finally realizing that, I'm finally seeing that, and it's been an illusion all along, you know, like things like that could be happening with that. Anyway, but that's only going to last like a few days, from like the 6th to the 10th, but it is a pretty intense configuration, so it's going to be really interesting. Mars will still be in Libra though for the rest of August. So you'll have like the rest of August with Mars and Libra in your 11th house, really bringing up a lot of social situations, addressing controversies or conflicts with a lot of social situations, maybe mending some social situations, changing, you know, things with your social life, all of that, going to maybe a lot of events, or, you know, social parties, etc. Now on the 9th, we're going to have the Aquarius full moon, and that is really bringing up something that you are, you know, something that's being revealed, or something that's being closed out in terms of your 3rd house. So again, like your social programming on a day-to-day basis, your environment where you live, your local town, your friends, your neighbors, like, you know, extended family, all of that could be coming up around this time. I'm going to do a separate video on that full moon like I always do, so don't worry. And then we also will have Mercury going direct on the 11th, and it's going to be almost opposing Pluto right when it goes direct. And so that's going to be a really interesting situation where something deep could be coming to the surface for you to express or communicate in some way, or for you to share in some way authentically, or this could be a massive change in your perception, or your thinking around something, or your beliefs around something around that time. And then also on the 11th, we're going to have Venus and Jupiter coming into their conjunction in your 8th house. This is going to be really positive and benefic and evolutionary for your 8th house sector. So any energetic, financial, resource-like exchanges involving other people, it's really going to bring a really positive, benefic energy to, especially anybody that feels like family, or, you know, really creating almost like a safe environment for you financially, or a safe environment for you to dream and grow, etc. financially. This could be you know, an investment. This is a really good place to have it. It could be like, you know, an inheritance, or you receiving something, or an investment that ends up going really well, you know, something like that. So watch out for that right around the 11th. It could, you know, give or take a few days with that. On the 23rd, we'll have the Virgo new moon, which I'll talk more about in the Virgo new moon video. And then on the 25th, Venus will move out of Cancer and move into the sign of Leo, again, entering your 9th house sector. And so this is going to be, you know, really integrating everything that you've learned here this month and at the end of July. And so it'll really be a time where your interests are really going towards like philosophical ideas and pursuing educational pursuits or travel. And so yeah, that is basically what we have for the month of August, Sag risings. Let me know down below if you could see a lot of these things happening, or you already could see things building to some of these situations. I'd love to hear your feedback down below. Comment down below, sexy Sag rising, if you watched till here, because you are. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Alrighty, Capricorn risings, welcome to your horoscope for August, for the month ahead. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. Let's go ahead and pull up your chart and jump right into it. So, as Capricorn risings, this month looks very, very interesting for you. We still have a lot going on in terms of your relationships. You've likely been feeling that. There's likely been a lot going on in your relationship sector, or with your partner in general, or with, you know, the people that you're close to in your life in general. And this is all really blending together this month, because not only is that still a focus, and there's a lot more harmony that comes in terms of you and your relationship with like somebody else or your actual partner in your life, but there is also this focus on what you guys share individually, and your shared goals, dreams, finances, assets, you know, the things that you want to do, the things that you want to have, the things that you want to acquire, the things that you want to possess, the things that you want to create, you know, with another person, or even just for yourself. And so, but on top of that, how that somehow connects into your career and your long-term goals, because Mars, the ruler of your fourth, will be in your 10th, and your 10th is ruled by Venus, which is in your 7th. Okay, so there's this kind of connection between your 4th, your 7th, and your 10th this month. And so that really tells me that, you know, if you've been really, really focused on your home life, your family, your relationships, your foundation, getting, you know, making sure that your foundation is solid underneath your feet in order for you to build things upon, now you're really going to be going outside of the box and focusing on your career and your long-term goals, your social connections that somehow, you know, relate to your job, your career, your long-term goals, your reputation, and your relationships, and all of that lead to your goals, your career, etc. And how your own personal relationships somehow tie into that as well. And so this is a month where I really feel like you are going to be finally kind of facing truths and facing, you know, maybe conflicts from a place of wisdom and from a place of class, because of the things that you've went through this year so far. So I feel like what this kind of looks like is like, I think that in your career, or in terms of your long-term goals, there's been some questions, or there's been some things that you've been procrastinating on, or there's been some decisions you've been needing to make, but maybe you've been on the fence, maybe you've been unsure, maybe you've been like, I don't really know, or me and my significant other can't get on board, or there's a financial situation that's been happening, or there's been a home situation that's been happening, so we haven't even really had to think about it. My energy has been going elsewhere. This August is the month where it's like, it's time to start thinking about it. It's time to start bringing some kind of balance back into your career and figuring out what decisions you need to make and what your truth is with that, so you can move forward. Okay, because there's some revolutionary changes happening this month in terms of your goals, your career, your future, and where you're going in your life. And so I think that this is a really great time, like, to, you know, bring your career into harmony, or to bring your long-term goals or your future goals, whatever they are, even if they're not career related, back into harmony. It's like time to start thinking long-term, time to start thinking about, okay, what's going to top this all off? What's going to be good for not only me, but others, or my relationship, or my family, or the people I work with in some way, shape, or form, because this is your 10th house of Libra. And so it's like, you know, combining everything that you've been learning and using it to make an informed decision moving forward. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't, or wouldn't, or couldn't face some kind of controversy within your career. Like, Mars in Libra does have a reputation of bringing some conflicts, bringing some controversy, showing us the other side of things that maybe we were not seeing, balancing the scales, balancing karma, you know. So these are some of the topics that could be coming up as well, too, here. But overall, I really think that you have been reflecting a lot on personal power, reflecting a lot on what you're capable of, reflecting a lot on what you want to create in your life, whether that's a business. Like, it's been kind of like Leo season with being your 8th house. I think of like self-sustainability. Like, you've been thinking about how to kind of sustain something that may be a passion or that you may love to do, or that, you may be very confident in, or that you may be very ambitious about, and like how to continue that, how to sustain that, and also how to do that for your relationship potentially as well. Or, whatever the case may be. So I feel like this is a month where you are focused on, okay, these are the decisions I need to make and the actions I need to take to sustain this. These are going to be, when I balance everything out, this is going to be what I feel my truth is and what I feel is fair, taking all of these things into consideration. And so I feel like August is definitely a time where you are kind of coming back into being responsible. And I feel like, not that you haven't been already, but like, I don't know, like Saturn in your 4th house in Aries, again, it's like taking accountability and responsibility for your life, your home situation, being kind of the leader and stepping up and, getting things done and securing a foundation, a home life and a family life that feels good to you. And that it doesn't have to be inside of some kind of conditioned societal concept of what's normal or what's acceptable or what everybody else is doing. It's like, no, you can pioneer your own path, and you're going to be figuring that out over like the next several years with Saturn and Neptune here. So now at this particular moment in time, it's like still figuring out what you want to go after, the decisions that you want to make, and within that, becoming closer to your significant other. With Venus and Jupiter in your 7th house, like, it's like you're going to want to enjoy time with your significant other. You're going to want to go out on dates. You're going to want to, do nostalgic things together. You're going to want to enjoy each other's company and do things that make you both feel comfortable and good and safe. And so that's really what I think this month is about for you as a Capricorn rising. Let's go ahead and go over the overall dates here, though, really quick. So we start the month with the first transit, which is on August 6th, and that is Mars moving into Libra, which is, again, your 10th house. Now, Mars will be in Libra for the whole month of August, so this is definitely going to be a time where you are figuring out how to balance things and, again, make decisions and find your truth in terms of your career and your long-term goals. You may need collaboration or other people to do this in some way. It may involve other people. Or it may involve like seeing another side of this area of life that you hadn't seen yet. Either way, it's like, there's something here about trying to come back into balance in this area of life. Now, when Mars first moves in, though, from about the 6th to the 10th, like I said, it's going to trine Pluto and Uranus, creating a grand air trine. This is really triggering these two outer planets that are creating a lot of kind of revolutionary upgrades in the area of finances, work, health and wellness, career, and long-term goals and legacy. And so these are the bigger questions or the deeper questions that you could start asking yourself. You could be thinking a lot more about your future, thinking a lot more about your long-term goals. Also, Mars will oppose Saturn and Neptune right when it first moves into Libra as well. Again, like kind of, triggering these massive changes that you've been going through with your home and family, and really like, okay, it's time to get off the fence with what you want to do with your future, what you want to do with career in some way. You've had enough time to figure out some of these lessons and go through some of these things with home and family. Now it's time to kind of put yourself out there, or to face the social environment of your career, to face certain questions about your career, decisions about your career. So that happens from about the 6th to the 10th. Then on the 9th, we're going to have the Aquarius full moon, which again is happening in your 2nd house. And we'll talk more about that in the Aquarius full moon video. And then on the 11th, we are going to have Mercury going direct as it's almost opposing Pluto in your 2nd. So this brings up a lot of themes of personal power versus, power of other people, right? This brings up a lot of themes of like maybe changing a financial situation that you've been in, changing your views or your perceptions on a financial situation that you've been in, paying off a debt or making something right, or creating some kind of big change financially here, right around the 11th. Okay. Now, on top of that, also on the 11th, we have the Venus-Jupiter conjunction. And so there's some big financial change happening here, but there's also some massive growth and really inspiring, desired change happening here in your 7th house of relationships with your partner. Okay, maybe they, get a promotion or something, and it shifts takes some of the pressure off you and shifts your own financial situations. But either way, there's something definitely going down right around the 11th, give or take a few, depending on other factors. But anyway, on the 23rd, we have a Virgo new moon. Again, I'll be doing a separate video on that. And then on the 25th, we have Venus moving into the sign of Leo in your 8th house. Really, again, bringing together, bringing in a certain integration of your financial sector in some way, shape, or form. Venus in your 8th is going to also be very, very good for finances. It's like now you can move from what you desire and what you love and what you want, rather than maybe old fears or whatever. And that's going to be a massive change that starts occurring towards the end of the month from the 25th onward. So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Capricorn risings. Hopefully that resonated. Let me know down below if you could see a lot of these things happening this month for you in the month of August. I'd love to hear your feedback. Comment down below, sexy Capricorn rising, if you stayed until here. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Alrighty, Aquarius risings, welcome to your August 2025 horoscope for the month ahead. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into what this month is bringing up for you. So I'm going to put your chart on the screen now. And when I look at your chart for this month ahead, first off, we have quite a few oppositions happening here. Number one, we're going to start having the opposition of Mars in Libra opposing Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Okay, so a lot of tension coming up, a lot of transformation and lessons coming up in terms of speaking your truth, asserting your opinion, and where you're putting your energy, your focus, what you're taking action on, certain maybe causes or beliefs or, things going on that you care about. Maybe there's something that happens in the world or in your country or in your, somewhere else that is really starting to catch your attention, or that's really starting to trigger something within you, or trigger kind of a breakdown of maybe old opinions, or a breakdown of an old way of thinking about something. Or this could be that you are getting into some kind of new way of thinking, new philosophical ideas, new beliefs, something like that feel way more balanced, harmonious, etc. Either way, whatever this is here, it's really about coming into some kind of harmony with your beliefs and your morals and how you see the world. That's really what this is about here. Your personal, individualized opinions in life and day-to-day, environment and, circumstances versus, something going on a bigger level. That you may feel, drawn to in some way, shape, or form. Now, on top of that, we also have the opposition between your sign and Leo this month, as we'll have the Aquarius full moon. Then we'll also have Mercury going direct, pretty much almost opposite Pluto in your sign. So, a lot of these Leo transits are opposing you this month. And so there's a lot here between kind of, fitting in and validation and rejection and alienation and, fears of, being outcasted, or fears of being different and not quite fitting in, or, kind of embracing some of these Leo traits within you, but then fearing that maybe you'll be looked at in a certain way, or embracing some of your own unique traits that aren't necessarily popular or highly recognized, and then feeling like you won't be accepted for who you are. So, and again, potentially you could be dealing with some similarities with the Aries Libra opposition as well between your 3rd and your 9th, where you have some really strong individual opinions about things, but you're also maybe dealing with situations, or there's certain situations going on where maybe you're either having to repress them, or, you're trying not to start conflict in some way, you're trying not to rock the boat, or maybe Mars in Libra is showing you a different side of what you thought you believed. This could also be a month where it's like, oh, I thought this was happening, but now I'm realizing that this is happening. And, it's like showing you another side of what you believe, or you're dealing with the other side of what you believe in some way. Could be people, like I'm on this side and I believe this thing, and these people believe the opposite, and somehow I keep running into them, or somehow I keep seeing it all over social media, etc., etc. So there's so many different ways this can play out, but it's basically a lot about you and how you do things versus others, and where you fit in versus where you stand out, where you feel accepted versus where you feel rejected. And really a lot of you accepting yourself, okay? You accepting yourself and allowing yourself to be unique, allowing yourself to be different, allowing yourself to not be super influenced by what, is cool or popular or trendy or what everybody else is doing. And in some way, I mean, the unique thing about Aquarius energy is that it doesn't usually, like at the end of the day, it's not about being defined. And I think when we can embrace not being defined and we can embrace our multidimensionality, that is where we shine the most, because you can't fit someone into a box that is embracing all of the parts of who they are, because they're maybe embracing so many conflicting different parts. And that's also what Mars and Libra teaches us a lot as well, is like embracing the conflicting parts about you. Okay, so you have this side, and this side is in direct conflict with this side within you. Well, embrace them both. Like who makes the rules here? Like who makes the rule book here, right? It's like living outside the rule book. And this month is going to challenge that within you. Can you express yourself and embrace the parts of who you are, even if they are not, even if you feel a bit scared to, or even if you feel a bit worried about voicing your opinion, or even if you feel a bit concerned about what others may think, or whatever the case may be. This is really challenging you to kind of speak your truth in a more bold way, in your own unique way, and to lead your life, to take leadership of your life, your lifestyle, and your day-to-day life and circumstances again, and not need there to be some some external thing that keeps you from doing that. Mars in Libra, it can really get us into the game of like good and bad and right and wrong, and into this kind of whole thing where we get really focused on there needing to be a bad guy, there needing to be a villain, and because that's not fair, now I'm going to allow that to affect my life, and I'm going to live like I'm under some kind of, whatever. Like, you get what I'm saying. But basically, you do kind of have to watch out for that. Can you stay true to yourself? Can you hold your sense of independence and individual sovereignty, even when there are certain situations that feel unjust or unfair? Mars in Libra may really bring that up in the 9th house. The 9th house can deal with justice and the justice system as well. There are things that may not always seem fair in life, or may not always seem fair from our advantage. And I don't know, maybe Mars and Libra does end something or change something in a fair way, like that could happen too. It doesn't always have to be unfair or unjust. But either way, these are situations that I think a lot of this is about personal power for you as an Aquarius rising. And that's what I'm kind of getting to. Do you think the power is outside of you, or do you think it's inside of you? If you're blaming X, Y, and Z for why you can't do something, or why your life is like X, Y, Z, then you again are placing the power outside of you and playing into a victim narrative, or like caging yourself and saying that you can't change until something else changes outside of you. And that's not taking control of your life. And I think Pluto in your sign is really showing you how to take control of your life and yourself, and like integrate your shadow and integrate the deep, weird parts of you, and to not hide from your power, and I think that's so much what this is about right now for you as an Aquarius rising. So I think as we move throughout August, you are really going to see where you can use some of these things. It doesn't mean that you just shouldn't care, about things that you're ambitious about or passionate about, or things that you would normally fight for. Like you care about maybe peace and harmony and all of that, but can you find a unique and original way, a revolutionary way to get that message out there, to help people and to create what you want to see in the world, rather than be so bogged down by what's wrong with the world, right? Because then I feel like it just gives us a very negative, pessimistic way of thinking, where we're just like, humans suck, everybody sucks, like, and it's like that does not help at all, and we completely start not even really focusing on all of the good and all of the beauty and all of the positive, And so this is, with Mars and Libra in the 9th house, this could also be really getting back into really artistic and beautiful ways of thinking that really help you and that bring peace to your life instead of chaos and controversy and all of that. That could be another beautiful way to deal with it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the dates so we can go over kind of date by date what's happening, so you have an idea of when this is all happening and can be a little bit more organized for you. So first and foremost, on August 6th, we are going to have Mars entering Libra, your 9th house, like I said, where it will immediately oppose Saturn and Neptune in your 3rd. And like I said, this could be a test of your faith, a test of your belief. It could be, something going on maybe in the world, or like, on a bigger scale, that is really kind of testing your views and testing what you originally thought about something. It could even be showing you a different side of something that you thought you knew or that you believed in, in some way, shape, or form. And either way, I think it's also challenging you to find your own truth here, and to, find your own way of thinking and not allow yourself to be influenced by other people's ways of thinking, or by other groups' way of thinking, or, other systematic ways of thinking, it's really about finding your own peace and balance with your views and with the world. I think with Mars and Libra, I think that's the higher meaning and purpose here of this. And so it could also be really, kind of testing your own truth, testing if you express your own truth, if you express your own opinions, things like that as well. So, either way, something's coming here pretty much right around August 6th to 10th that I think is changing the way that we've been perceiving something or viewing something, etc. Okay. And I think it can also lead, though, to something really inspiring, because, again, it does make a grand air trine to Pluto in your sign and to Uranus in your 5th house. And it's like, if you can in some way view whatever happens as like a way to, from a creative lens, right? To get your own message out there, to get your own passions out there, I think that could really help as well. Then on the 9th, we have the full moon in your sign, which is really going to bring up a reintegration into self, a reintegration into, maybe like a past version of yourself, or remembering who you are, closing out some kind of old cycle, maybe closing out something that started in your season earlier this year from the end of January into February. Either way, it's like, a full moon in your sign is always kind of coming back to yourself and feeling, this sense of wholeness or completeness within yourself. And also sometimes it's like a waning or like a moment of closure within yourself as well. And we'll talk more about that in the Aquarius full moon video. Then on the 11th, Mercury goes direct. Mercury's been retrograding inside of your 7th house. So you've been doing a lot of reflecting on relationships, your ideas of a relationship, your ideas of connection, the way that you think, the way that you connect, the way that you communicate in relationships, and, what you really think, what ideas are yours, what aren't, letting go of past things or past ties or past attachments to relationships, all of that. And so Mercury finally goes direct on the 11th, and it will also somewhat be opposing Pluto. It'll be about 2 degrees off when it goes direct. So this is, I think, a really big change for you, and really not only changing how you view relationships, but it's like it's changing yourself in a big way too. And it's like some big revelations, I think, there for you. Then on the 11th as well, we have Venus and Jupiter coming into their conjunction in your 6th house of health, wellness, work, and your day-to-day routines, your task, duties, and responsibilities. This is going to be a really harmonious, beautiful, and expansive time in this area of life. This could be you finally seeing results with a wellness routine or a wellness practice that you've been doing, or a diet that you've been having, or, finding something that finally works, or getting a promotion, or, something like that, some kind of good news at your job. It's like something's paying off here in your 6th house, and it feels expansive and optimistic, and like there's a lot of potential there. And then Virgo season and the Virgo new moon begin right around the 22nd and 23rd. I'll be doing a separate video on the Virgo new moon. And then we are going to have Venus entering the sign of Leo on the 25th at the end of the month. And I think this is really going to bring the love and harmony back into your relationships if it feels like there's been a lot of contemplating and a lot of rethinking and analyzing, and if it's felt a bit messy, like maybe you've been having like a lot of revelations and you've been getting clear on a lot of things about relationships, but it still hasn't been integrated yet. And I think Venus coming back into Leo is going to help you integrate it. And also, I think, help you feel more comfortable in terms of relationships, love. If you already are in a relationship, I think it's going to bring you closer together. You're going to be wanting to have fun more and do fun things more and laugh more and be more affectionate around that time from the 25th and, moving into September. So yeah, and that is what we have happening for the month of August. Aquarius risings, let me know down below if you feel like a lot of this is going to resonate with you and how you think this is going to be playing out for you. I'd love to hear your feedback on a lot of these transits and how you've been seeing them. Comment down below, sexy Aquarius rising, because you are, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Alrighty, Pisces risings, welcome to your August 2025 horoscope for the month ahead. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. So we're going to go ahead and put your chart up on the screen here so you can see it. You should be able to see it now. So when I look at your chart for August as a Pisces rising, you have some stuff going on here in your 6th house of Leo. So very focused on work, okay, your performance, how you're being seen at work and in your day-to-day life, what things look like in your day-to-day life, and if you're really being true to yourself when it comes to your habits, your duties, your responsibilities, your job, like if you're really feeling like you can be your authentic self on a day-to-day basis in the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, in the ways that you're performing on a day-to-day basis. And even with that word performance, like, are you putting on a mask and performing, or are there things you could do that are, coming up? Are there situations coming up that are based around your actual performance, maybe at your job or at work or whatever the case may be? Is there a way to tap back into your creativity, your authenticity, to let your soul shine through, your passion shine through for what you do on a day-to-day basis? Where, are there certain topics of like authority, leadership, competition coming up in the workspace or with your health and wellness routines, right? These are a lot of the things that I think about when I first look at your chart, and it being Leo season, Mercury being retrograde in your 6th house, for the first, week or two of the month. So basically you have been reflecting a lot in this area on if, the task and the things that you're putting your energy into are really paying you back, if they're really lighting you up, if they're really what you desire to be doing, if they're really what you want to be doing, if they're really what you're passionate about. And so that is, a huge topic and a huge theme of the month ahead. Now, also, we're going to have Mars entering into Libra, your 8th house, and then immediately opposing Saturn and Neptune in your 2nd house. So there's a lot coming up here to do with your financial situations, your kind of karmic connections, ties with other people. And if those feel fair, right, just, balanced, this would be a really great time, like, with Saturn and Neptune in your 2nd house of Aries. This has been a massive paradigm shift in terms of your finances and trusting yourself and leading yourself and taking care of yourself, trusting in your own sense of sovereignty and independence, and, acting more from a place of individuality, especially when it comes to the things that you're capable of, the things that you want to be doing, your priorities. Like, what are your priorities? What is important to you? This is something that's been really big starting this year with Saturn and Neptune both moving into your second house. You know, there may be some kind of old dream or old vision that you once had for like what you wanted your life to look like, or the resources that you wanted to have in life, or the things that you wanted to do, or the things that you wanted to create, or the priorities that you were focused on. And Mars is coming in your 8th house and really triggering that, and, you know, basically saying that, like, before we can really focus on the things that we want, or the things that you want, it's like you may have to also face some situations or some karmic ties with others, with other people. You may have to balance something out. You may have to make peace in a situation that has been difficult or confrontational, or causing you some friction or stress or difficulty in some way. There may be some kind of conflict that is needing to be resolved here in a fair manner, right? Libra is all about what's fair. It's neutral. It's ruled by the scales. It's not about, you know, how you emotionally feel necessarily. It's more about like, okay, what's the truth and what's actually fair and what's neutral. Now, Mars is in detriment here. So there may be some situations that come up that you're noticing that don't feel fair, or that don't feel completely, you know, that you are more personally attached to, that you're not super neutral on. But these are happening to kind of reflect back to you, either to kind of like, you know, reflect back to you where you need to be more independent or more self-sufficient and more motivated in that direction, or where you may need to take a second look at some things before you move forward, okay? Where you may need to make some things right, even if it feels against what you actually desire in this moment, or against what you wanted in this moment. It may be the right thing to do, or the just thing to do at the end of the day. And so this isn't all bad though. I mean, like, Mars is only opposing Saturn and Neptune for like a few days, from like the 6th to about like the 10th or the 11th. So this isn't like something you have to necessarily worry about for like the whole month, but Mars will be moving through your 8th house for the whole month of August. And so it will bring up changes that you're wanting to make, or even challenges that you are needing to face when it comes to what you share and what you collaborate with, and your resources and finances with others. But not only that, the 8th house can also just be karmic ties to other people, and that can be emotional ties, or that can be like, a connection with somebody from your past, or, you know, whatever the case may be. The 8th house is a deep psychological house as well. It can bring up deep psychological change that can kind of affect you and how you move forward, facing, you know, certain karmic situations that it's like, okay, I need to face this. I need to make peace with this for me to be able to move forward, right? So that's kind of one of the more challenging aspects of the month, but we also do have a lot of really beautiful things happening this month as well, like Venus and Jupiter coming into their conjunction, and Venus actually will rule Mars in Libra. So that also tells me that even if there is a disadvantage or a conflict of interest happening here in your life in some way, shape, or form, it's like for a better purpose, or it's for a greater purpose. Maybe you are having a financial conflict of interest over a child, like child support or custody or something like that, especially with Venus and Jupiter in your 5th house. Maybe your partner is having a conflict of interest financially in some way, shape, or form, and but somehow in some way it is leading back to, you know, more love, more affection, or more time that you guys get to spend together, or whatever the case may be. It's like either way, I do feel like with the Venus-Jupiter conjunction, it is bringing in some kind of like, it is bringing in some kind of benefic energy to whatever is happening. It's like, okay, this place, we may need to face this and balance this out over here, and it may be somewhat difficult or not exactly what we had in mind or had envisioned, but it's also creating more, you know, time, support, love, intimacy, nurturing, you know, care, etc. In other places. It's also bringing you closer to something that you love in some way, shape, or form. And so that's really how I'm kind of reading that right now. So other than that, you know, when I really look at your chart here, I really am thinking, you know, with such an emphasis on like the 5th and 6th house here, it's like, what do you truly care about? What do you truly love? That seems to be a really big theme right now this month for you with the 5th and 6th house activated. And are you expressing that and implementing that into your daily life? Again, even your 6th house, like I said before, what are you passionate about? What are you creatively inspired by? And are you expressing that on a day-to-day level within your work, your job, your health, your wellness, your duties, your tasks, your responsibilities? Okay. We're also going to have some oppositions this month with Aquarius, which is your 12th house. So this can be bringing up as well, like not only what you want things to look like on a day-to-day basis in your job, health, wellness, etc., but also what's going on behind the scenes, you know, old subconscious, you know, cycles, old self-sabotage cycles, you know, sleep patterns, the dream world, where we kind of buy into like old cycles, old cycles of suffering, you know, things like this. And so, you know, we'll have a full moon here this month. And so this is really going to kind of point to as well, like, okay, there's something here that subconsciously is being brought to light that maybe previously has been somewhat hidden, you know, maybe things that made you feel different, old rejection wounds, old wounds around not fitting in or feeling like you don't belong that are now affecting your health, wellness, you know, day-to-day work environments, etc. Right? So some of that could be coming up this month as well. But I think all in all, this is really about like, how are you prioritizing the things that you really want, and how are you taking action on them, and how are you expressing that on a day-to-day basis, and getting very deeply intimate and concerned with what really does matter to you at the end of the day. What really are your priorities? Like, what do you really care about, and what is really truly important to you? Okay, so anyway, so let's go over the dates really quick of everything happening this month. So on why do I keep doing that? On August 6th, Mars is going to move into Libra, where it will immediately start opposing Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and it will create a grand air trine with Pluto and Uranus here. All right, so there's a lot going on with this Mars and Libra at first. So anyways, so like I said, with the opposition to Saturn and Neptune, it's like there is maybe the vision and the an old vision versus a new vision around some kind of independence with resources, finances, taking care of yourself, you know, leading yourself in your life in some way. It's like, okay, well, to do that or to get to what you want, you may also have to face this thing over here. That may involve other people, or may involve balancing the scales in some way, or making something right, or facing a hard truth, or, you know, maybe paying off a debt, or, you know, facing a conflict or a challenge with another person. You know, there may be a conflict of interest happening here, basically, that needs to be resolved. And the lesson is somewhere in the middle here, right? It's not all about like, yeah, let me just not do anything I want to do and give in to what everybody else wants to keep the peace. But it's also not like, oh, I'm just going to keep going full speed ahead and screw what other people are thinking or doing or want or whatever, right? So it's like finding a way to stay true to yourself, but also to like, if your behaviors cause something, or you gave your word or committed to something and it hasn't worked out, or, you know, whatever the case may be, if you have a part in it, it's like owning that part and making it right in some way. And so, you know, that's definitely kind of part of this. Now, the other part of this, like I said, is this grand air trine happening. So it really is bringing in kind of these psychological influences from Pluto in your 12th, and then these Uranian influences from Uranus in your 4th. So it's like, whatever this is definitely like, okay, it's causing some kind of change here on a financial level, on a home and family level, and then even like a subconscious level or something subconsciously, or kind of that was behind the scenes finally coming up to the surface to be addressed. So, you know, you have kind of that going for you too with this Mars trine. And I really want to just be clear, like none of this is, I'm not saying any of this is like really bad or you need to be afraid or anything like that. Just saying it is kind of one of the harder aspects of the month, but I don't think it's anything that, you need to be like scared of or anything. Likely you'll maybe already know or could see where this is leading. But that's going to be happening from like the 6th to the 10th. And then we have the Aquarius full moon, again, happening in your 12th house. And I'm going to do a whole separate video going over that. And then Mercury will finally move direct on the 11th and no longer be retrograde. And when it moves direct, it's going to be almost in an exact opposition with Pluto. So when it starts, moving direct and switches gears, it's going to be almost opposing Pluto. So it's like, something that was once, going on behind the scenes, or something subconscious, or something that has been, boiling underneath the surface for a while, is finally it's like you're finally facing it, addressing it, moving forward, having the conversations and taking the actions and making the plans that you need to make. Could be like a bad habit, a toxic cycle, an old addiction, an old fear, whatever the case may be. So then we have Venus and Jupiter coming into their conjunction in your 5th house. Your 5th house rules over children, love, romance, pleasure, entertainment, fun, dating. This is where we kind of find our passion in life and kind of find like the things that we love and that bring us a sense of joy. So with Venus, this is a really beautiful spot to be having Venus and Jupiter. This could be like good news coming in. That's exciting. This could be a celebration for something. This could be like, finding out that you're pregnant, especially as a Pisces rising with Jupiter in your 5th house of Cancer right now. This could be going on like a nice date, a nice night out. This could be enjoying a nostalgic movie with your significant other and kids, it could be so many different things, but there's definitely like a more hopeful, optimistic, like beautiful energy in the air that's really supportive and that feels safe and comfortable and good and sensual. And so that is Venus and Jupiter on the 11th. And then on the 23rd, we will have the Virgo new moon in your 7th house, bringing in a new chapter to your relationships, and will be the kind of lead up to eclipse season next month, which is going to be a very, very big deal for you as a Pisces rising. We'll be having eclipses in your sign and your opposite sign of Virgo, really bringing up a lot of karmic and fated events and themes going on with self and other. And so, I really think that like as Pisces risings, this is like a time where there's been a lot of reflection on who you are and your identity and trusting yourself and, being in flow with who you are and integrating all of who you are, and no longer, I shouldn't say no longer, but being more aware of where you may kind of try to box yourself in, or structure yourself too much, or edit yourself too much, or criticize yourself too much, or where you take that criticism from others or give it to others, like judgment, criticism, micromanaging, especially to do with relationships, has been a very karmic theme here for you as a Pisces rising this year since the nodes have switched. So there's like a lot of kind of detoxing going on in like the relationship space. And now, with everything that you've been through, like Mars moving across your south node in July, or the south node in July, and now moving into Libra, it's like you've had to make some big releases or big changes in terms of your relationships, or confront some big challenges that have felt really karmic, or that kind of unravel back into, a earlier time in your life. And now this is like, with Mars in your 8th house, it's like really figuring out like your boundaries, standards, like your truth, and how to weigh things out in a fair way that still feels fair and right, but also good to you. Okay, so anyways, and then on the 25th, we will have Venus moving into Leo. And I think this is going to really start mending a lot of things in that work, health, day-to-day routine sector for you. So like if you've had some issues at work around your performance, or around validation, or around acceptance, or around being seen, or authenticity, creativity, passion, etc., authority, leadership, Venus moving into Leo, I think is really going to Number one, first change some things as she opposes Pluto. But also I think she's then going to really start, adding a more sweet flavor to this area of life, like, kind of putting the icing on the cake and making it feel a lot better and helping you to be more expressive and, more in love with, and care more about, these things, whether that be exercise or your routines or your health or your diet or your wellness or your job or like whatever the case may be. She's definitely going to bring more pleasure to that area of life when she moves in there. So basically, this is like, who are you and what can you do without needing validation? Like, how can you go about your life in a more like realistic and authentic way? And, be more real about who you are, especially on a day-to-day basis at work, etc., and not need anybody to approve of it or need anybody else's validation. I really feel like some of you may be dealing with kind of like a work thing where it's like you've maybe been putting in a lot of work, but you don't get recognized for it. Or, and some of you could be the opposite. It's like you're finally getting recognized for it maybe, or you're like getting an award or getting, whatever. But it's like, I feel like some of you are dealing with some kind of work situation, definitely with the Mercury retrograde here. And it's really making you, ask yourself, like, what do I really care about? And like, how supportive am I to myself, and what kind of support do I need, and what do I really love, and what really means something to me? And you're also asking yourself, what are your priorities, and what are the illusions you've been living under that have been holding you back in terms of going after the life that you want and the resources you want, the assets that you want, the capabilities that you have, like what's been holding you back from like your full potential, basically. And I think that this month really brings a lot of that up and addresses that. Okay, so that is what I'm seeing for you, Pisces risings. Let me know down below if that resonated with you guys. I'd really love to hear your feedback, and comment down below, sexy Pisces rising, because you are, especially if you stayed until here. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Alrighty, Aries risings, welcome to your August 2025 horoscope for the month ahead. I hope you guys are doing fabulous, darlings. And also, this month for you looks very, very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and put your chart up here on the screen so we can kind of go over it together. So number one, it is Leo season, baby. And this is definitely a time where it's like, you know what? I just want to get out in the sun. I want to have fun. I want to let my hair down. I want to be wild. I want to embrace my inner child. I want to laugh. I want to be entertained. I want to go do fun things. I want to be adventurous. This is like the time where it's like time to let your hair down, time to like let your inner child out, time to get back to a sense of fun, pleasure, play, passion, flirtation. Have you forgotten to flirt with life? Have you forgotten to kind of find, pleasure and joy and harmony in those small moments? Like, have you, been way too serious or way too focused, or like had so much going on that you've kind of forgotten to stop and smell the roses a little bit, right? And so this is a month that's like really like, okay, this is the time to like let it out. This is the time to embrace what's on your heart. Like whether that's focusing on your passions, focusing on hobbies, focusing on, concerts or love or whatever it is, your children, your own inner child, like whatever it is, like this is the time. And, with Mercury retrograding here, especially for like the first, 11 days of the month as it's still retrograde, it's really asking like, where do you find pleasure and fun in your life right now? Like where are you allowing yourself to be authentic and express yourself and, do fun things and focus on the things that you love and the things that you genuinely enjoy and find some kind of pleasure in. And so Mercury retrograding here is like kind of showing you where maybe you've been holding yourself back in terms of your passions and, the things that you love and the things that are really near and dear to your heart because of maybe like, societal standards or fears around what other people think, or fears around fitting in, or fears around rejection, or, certain friend groups or people that are around you, or certain, whatever. It's like there's something here where it's like, look, it's time to just get back to like your heart space, get back to the core of who you are, and just be you and just embrace who you are and embrace what you love, and go from there. And so this can be a really fun and exciting time with all of that going on. You know, like there's just a lot here to do with like passion and fun and your heart's desires, and, you know, doing fun things and getting out and just letting your wild out, you know, being a wild child, you know, that kind of lion sassy energy, like let it all out. So anyway, so that's the first thing I see now. And I love this too, because we have this Venus Jupiter conjunction in your fourth, really bringing in this sense of like nostalgia, comfort, safety, security, feeling loved and supported at home or with family or whatever. Like maybe you're expanding in some way in the home and family life. Maybe you are redecorating, or like, you know, remembering your vision, remembering your goals, like remembering the things that, you know, also really mattered to you. Remember like watching nostalgic movies, or getting reacquainted with like, you know, your past, and also coming to terms with that and allowing yourself to be free of anything that's been holding you kind of back from the past. And so this is like a really beautiful transit as well, that also kind of goes into like, it's like almost like, hey, it's safe to like let yourself have some fun and be more lighthearted right now. Like, so do it, you know? And so anyway, now also we are going to have Mars, your ruling planet, and this is the big one of the month, entering your opposite sign of Libra. Now this is the part that can, like, there's pros to it and there's cons to it, like every transit, okay? But, you know, Mars is in detriment in Libra, and it's that way for a reason. He doesn't always do the best in the sign of Libra. And so here's the thing. It's like, I really feel like you're wanting to kind of have fun and be authentic, and you're really starting to like embrace your authenticity again. You're really starting to embrace this like free spirited energy again. But, and that could be like on a more pro level of Mars and Libra, with other people, with relationships, like, you know, with your family, with your significant other, especially with like Venus ruling Libra and being in your fourth conjunct Jupiter. Like, this is a really great time to like, oh, like I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to spend time with my family. I'm going to go on dates with my significant other and like reignite our spark. Now, the problem with this though, is that again, Mars is in detriment in Libra. Like, and so maybe this is happening, but you're still kind of like, well, there are things I'd like to focus on about me here. Or there are things that are going on with me, like my body, health, vitality, identity, that I am a bit more concerned about. And Mars and Libra is kind of opposing Saturn and Neptune in your sign. And so it's like, and on the flip side though, this could be Mars and Libra kind of like changing your vision of who you are, or helping to change your perception of who you are, who you've been. You know, Saturn and Neptune is really breaking out of some kind of mold that we've been stuck in for a while, or some kind of like paradigm that we've been stuck in that maybe hasn't even been real, and we're like realizing that. And this is happening within your first house, with yourself, your relationship with yourself, your body, your vitality, your appearance, like all of that. It's like you are seeing where maybe you've been kind of trapped under like illusionary cages, or where you've held your own self back, where you've been doing it to yourself. Mars and Libra is coming in to like trigger this and be like, okay, yes. And yeah, maybe you were someone that was super self-focused before, but now you can be someone that puts more energy into other people or into your relationships. Okay, so Mars and Libra on the pro side can be really, really good for making changes in your relationships, addressing challenges in your relationships, you know, putting a lot more energy, doing a lot more things with your partner. Now, on the flip side of that, you could find that maybe your partner is a bit more, you know, controversial, or a bit more edgy, or whatever. It's like you would like to be keeping the peace here, but your partner is a bit more reactive or triggered, or vice versa. Like they're trying to keep the peace, but you're finding yourself be more reactive, more triggered, etc. So it's just more so about like, you know, watching to see how this Mars and Libra plays out. It is opposing your sign though, and it is your ruling planet. So it's like, it's kind of out of your comfort zone. It's like you are going to find yourself more focused on, more concerned with, and putting more energy towards your relationships and other people, thinking more about what's going on with them than you are yourself normally. And And, like, not that that's, makes you selfish or anything. Like, it's how we're literally built as humans. It's just like this is a time that's going to be more focused on your relationships and navigating certain challenges, potential conflict or conflict of interest within your relationships. But it can also simultaneously be a time where if you can bring love to it, if you can bring support, love, if you can soften and open your heart, and you can have fun and play and take things light and not take things too seriously, where you can bring these two together and you can, integrate both sides of this here, because it can feel like maybe there are certain things going on with you, but you're also feeling pulled to your relationships. And so you can feel pulled between self and other, basically. And I think that, again, you resolve that with this fourth house Venus, Jupiter, and coming back to love and support of each other. And also Mars and Libra can also be about like you kind of seeing things from your partner's side more, or them seeing things from your side. Libra is a mirror a lot of the time, so keep that in mind as well. And then other than that, I mean, those are pretty much the main things that we have happening this month. This month can be a lot more of a social month with Mars and Libra, making this grand air trine between Pluto and Uranus in your social houses, your 11th, 7th, and 3rd. So, this month can light up things socially. And again, you can find yourself like wanting to have more fun, wanting to be more expressive, but also thinking about like, are the friends and people and environments around me aligned with that? Or am I just making up my own fear because of, one thing and making it seem like I'm just not safe to do what I want to do or to love what I want to love because of XYZ, So anyway, let's go ahead and go over the dates here. So first and foremost, Mars moves into Libra on August 6th, and it will travel through Libra for the rest of the month. Right away, as it moves into Libra, it immediately starts opposing Saturn and Neptune in your sign. It will only last from about the 6th to 11th. But so when Mars first moves into Libra, you may kind of feel this pull outside of yourself or something. So again, that could look like something going on with a partner that's now kind of distracting you from whatever you were previously focused on. That could look like something coming up in your relationship that now has your energy or your focus, That could look like maybe you finally addressing a challenge or a conflict of interest in a relationship. There's so many different things, but either way, like when Mars first moves into Libra, it's really going to kind of be like, okay, I think it could be bringing up the topic of boundaries, the topic of fairness, the topic of, balance, the topic of, peace, harmony, truth, as it opposes your sign, especially to do with other people and relationships and yourself and your own identity. Alrighty. And then we have the Aquarius full moon happening on the 9th in your 11th house. And I think this full moon is going to be a lot about showing you where you do have, these, showing you certain things about, society, friends, groups, your place in the world, and either where you've been scared of rejection or where you've been scared to like embrace certain parts of you, or where it's okay for you to shine and be seen, or where it's okay to stand out, or even it could be showing you more people that you have things in common with than you thought. Okay, so there could be maybe like an event that you're going to around this time that involves other people, like a big concert or, some kind of group event. And we'll talk more about that in the Aquarius full moon video anyway. But then on the 11th, Mars goes direct and finally starts moving forward and finishes retrograding. And right when Mercury, I said Mars, I meant Mercury. Mercury goes direct on August 11th. And then right when he goes direct, he kind of is almost in an opposition with Pluto. It's only like 2 degrees off. So this really shows me like that whatever that Aquarius full moon is bringing up, like it's really causing like a pretty big ripple effect over the next couple of days that can change the way that you've been going about something, can change your perception on something. you know, it can give you a lot of really deep insights and revelations about, you know, again, what you're passionate about and your desires, passions, what you want and find joy in versus, you know, other people and social situations and the world and where you fit in and all of that. Okay, so then on the 11th, Jupiter and Venus will also be coming into their conjunction. Again, the few days leading up to this are going to be a really positive time for home and family, and finding nurturing and comfort in that area of life. It can also bring up, you know, elements of like the past or nostalgia or your childhood, parents, etc. too. Then on the 23rd, we're going to have the Virgo new moon starting a new chapter in your 6th house of work, health, day-to-day routines, and wellness. Now, this Virgo new moon will kind of be the prequel to the eclipse season that we have in September. So it's kind of on the lead up to it. So this is going to be big because your 6th and 12th houses are going to start becoming very active from that point forward, and will be going through major eclipses. And so there will be a lot of a focus shift on like your habits, health, day-to-day routines, and what needs to start there and what needs to be let go of there, but also, you know, unhealthy habits, addictions, escapism, your spiritual connection, what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on subconsciously in the dream world, you know, old cycles, healing, old karma, old karmic patterns, you know, all of that, you know, are going to be the name of the game once we get to the end of August and moving into September. So then last but not least, we will have Venus moving into the sign of Leo on August 25th. And she will bring a lot more, I think, harmony to your love life, your relationships, etc. And you know what this could be is that Mars in your 7th could be having you face challenging situations and maybe questions about and decisions regarding your relationship life and the close relationships in your life. And this 5th house could be you also like, what do I really want? What is aligned with me? What is authentic to me? What does make me happy? What does bring me joy? Like, I want to have fun and be able to let out my inner child and be able to reconnect with my heart and what I love. And Mars here is also, and your 7th is also challenging you to really figure out, like, again, who are you and what do you connect with? So for a lot of you, this could be you, like, kind of like the lead up to you making some big changes within your relationships and social life. That's really what this looks like. And then Venus moving into Leo even more is like, okay, now you're really reconnecting with what you love. Now you are like expressing it, you're doing it, it's feeling good. For some of you, like, it's going to play out for different ones of you, but for some of you, I could see this as like a reconnection with the heart space in your relationships, like, you know, going back to like almost an earlier time in your relationship where things are fun and fresh and new and exciting and adventurous, and like going on more dates again, reconnecting with the heart again, laughing with each other, things like that. For others of you, this could be like, you know what, this relationship actually isn't really aligned with me anymore and I'm deciding to leave it, you know? So it could just be different for different ones of you. So you'll have to kind of let me know how that plays out down below, or what that's looking like for you guys as Aries risings here. Alrighty, so if you stayed until here, comment down below, sexy Aries rising, because you are. And then also let me know down below how this resonated with you guys. I'd love to hear it. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Alrighty, Taurus risings, welcome to your August 2025 horoscope for the month ahead. August is a very interesting month. Let's go ahead and pull up your chart and look at it here. So August for you is really looking like there is definitely a lot going on in the private sector, the personal sector, like your home, family life, siblings, neighbors, relatives, family, you know, all of that jazz. It looks like you're really kind of like, you know, reconnecting with your roots, reconnecting with where you come from, reconnecting with your home and family, while also facing a lot of big changes in terms of either career, long-term goals, future, you know, kind of your social life, like your more like professional life, your social life, etc. And so what I really see here, if you're a Taurus rising, is like, you know, you may have been kind of focused on like how can I change the world? How can I create change in the world, or create change for other people, or, bring some kind of, monumental shift to other people's lives, or collaborate with other people, especially with this Aquarius 10th house. It's like there's more of a bigger collective way of thinking, or a more collaborative way of thinking, especially when it comes to your career and your long-term goals and like all of that. But this month is kind of like, okay, there is, so much that you can do in terms of, the world, but where it starts is kind of at home and personally in your personal life. It's like, instead of worrying about how to change the world, worry about how to change yourself, lead yourself, be the foundation for yourself, lead at home, like all of that. Like, so this is really coming back to a sense of like who you are when no one's around, who you are behind closed doors, who you are when the curtains are pulled, and coming back to that authentic place within you, reconnecting with family roots, home, ancestry, your childhood even, or your past, or, relatives, parents, siblings, neighbors, cousins, etc. And, kind of finding that sense of authority and all of that within you again, that sense of self within you again. Okay. Finding those kind of, finding those like moments of gratitude and love, and kind of falling back in love with the moment, especially with your ruling planet Venus going through Cancer this month and conjuncting Jupiter. This is going to be a really beautiful time to be more present, to be more in a flow state with what's going on in your day-to-day life and what's going on in your environment. You're going to feel a bit more like, okay, I want to be a bit more passive in my day-to-day life. I want to like be able to chillax. Like maybe you're even trying to delegate, things going on in your career with your long-term goals, or collaborate with other people, etc., because you want to be able to spend more time with family or at home, or because you want to create more balance in your work life, or whatever the case may be. Like this is definitely a collaborative month and time that is like starting to come up here. And it really kind of starts planting the seeds this month. And I think that this is going to be a really beautiful kind of a really beautiful time as well, with, again, this Venus-Jupiter conjunction in your third, of you really getting back in touch with your heart space and speaking from your heart, and, getting back in touch with kind of almost like the poetry of your day-to-day life. Like that's what I want to say here with this, like the sensuality of your day-to-day life, like your gifts, your talents, your skills. This could be maybe you learning something new, or you taking a trip back to where you lived growing up, or, visiting your grandma or cousin, or whatever the case may be, or going on a short trip with your sibling or something like that. Like, I don't know. I kind of have that vibe for whatever reason, but either way, this is definitely like, I think a lot about you not needing to micromanage, especially with the South Node in Virgo. Like this is something you've been learning, you not needing to micromanage, or, overly pick apart, or need to be in control of every little thing when it comes to the things that you love and your passions and your gifts and like all of that. And you learning how to trust in others, and find the right people, and find the right communities, and find the right, I don't know, just different groups of people that you belong to, okay? And so either way, though, I think this month really carries on that torch, because, again, like, just there's so much going on here with, like, other people and work, but also, like, home and family and private life. And so, yeah, this could definitely be a month where that's really coming into play. Now, the other thing about this month is Mars is moving into the sign of Libra, and is going to immediately oppose Saturn and Neptune in your 12th. And so this really looks like kind of showing you where you have had some like stubborn, maybe even like slightly like selfish, for lack of a better word, kind of subconscious programming or habits or ways of perceiving things, or kind of paradigms, or like almost like matrices, you could even say, that you've been living under that have not been helping you progress. And so, or that have been holding you back in your own work, routine, health, wellness, kind of areas of life. And so it's like, I don't know, I feel like this Mars in Libra, not only is it going to set you up for decisions and collaborations and your relationships and balancing things out in your work and wellness and health life, but it's also opposing Saturn and Neptune. So it's like kind of challenging maybe some old subconscious perspectives or old subconscious like programs that have been running in the background that maybe you didn't even realize, or some old self-sabotaging, defeating karmic cycles. It's like really pushing you to get out of your own shell and your own bubble, and to kind of allow things to be more balanced in your work life, or to find more peace or find more harmony in your day-to-day health, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so that's kind of how I see some of that playing out as well. But either way, with Mars moving in Libra, there's going to be probably some decisions around other people, or around, peace, harmony, balancing things out, fairness, etc., to do with your job, your coworkers, your day-to-day schedules and routines, your health and your wellness in some way, shape, or form. And so anyways, let's go ahead and get into the dates here. So Mars moves into Libra on August 6th, and we'll be in there for the rest of this month and even into next month. But when Mars moves into Libra, it's going to oppose Saturn and Neptune immediately, but it's also going to create a grand trine with Pluto and Uranus. And so again, this is going to be really great for, it's like whatever you're doing with Mars in Libra is like you're doing something to keep the peace, or to, make some changes, or to try to make some decisions that are going to be for the greater good, that are going to set you up for your future, and likely also, may even change a lot of things financially as well. But it's also bringing in some tension in some way with either something going on behind the scenes. Maybe it pulls something out that you hadn't previously seen. Maybe it triggers, something going on within you, or something going on within someone else that you didn't know about. Maybe it brings up, old, kind of like ways of thinking about something, old habits, like, old subconscious patterns, old karmic cycles in some way, shape, or form. But it's really like, with Neptune and Saturn there, it's like, okay, like Neptune dissolves and Saturn is kind of like, structuring things. And so it's like whatever paradigm that you were kind of living in that Mars is triggering, it's like you're maybe even realizing like, oh, that was kind of futile, or that was all an illusion, that wasn't even real, and so anyways, but there's definitely something here that there's some kind of push and pull happening right when Mars moves in. So that'll be going on from like August 6th to about like the 10th or 11th with that transit. And then we will have the Aquarius full moon happening August 9th. And this is definitely going to be kind of like this moment of something coming to light within your career that maybe was previously unknown or unseen. It's definitely going to bring up a large focus around your career, your future, your long-term goals, and where you're headed, and your legacy, and all of that. And we'll talk more about that in the Aquarius full moon video. And then on the 11th, Mercury will move direct right as it is in a very like almost exact opposition with Pluto. It's only going to be 2 degrees off. So Mercury is going to move direct right as it's almost opposing Pluto again. And so this could definitely bring up, and number one, this is going to be kind of a powerful Mercury direct moment, but this could definitely be bringing up like a conscious shift, or a sudden shift in perception, or a powerful kind of new way of seeing something, or a powerful conversation, or a powerful change in mind or decision or schedule, or the way that you're going about something. And so really watch out for that right around the 11th, and the kind of couple days leading up to that, and a couple days after, because it really looks like something is coming up. And again, it's going to be centered kind of around home and family versus career and long-term goals and future. So Then we have Venus and Jupiter coming into their conjunction in your third house. Again, this is really beautiful. And with Venus kind of ruling your chart and also ruling your sixth house as well, it's like there's something that you are really kind of coming to terms with. There's some kind of integration happening. And there's also like, it's almost like a kind of optimistic and really blissful shift in perception and shift in heart. And you may definitely notice this more on a mundane level on a day-to-day basis because it's happening in your third. This could be a celebration or maybe like a birthday of like a sibling around this time or a cousin or whatever. Maybe this is like, you know, you finding a really cool little spot around you or visiting an old spot around you that really brings back a lot of nostalgia and really beautiful heartfelt moments. So yeah, that's happening on the 11th. On the 23rd, we'll have the Virgo new moon, which is kind of like the pregame for eclipse season that starts in September. And so we'll have a lot that starts happening after that Virgo new moon that really is affecting your 5th house and your 11th house. Again, kind of a new beginning, but also a releasing and micromanaging tendencies and judgmental and perfectionistic tendencies to do with your passions and the things that like your skills, your crafts, and the hobbies that you have, the things that you desire and love, children as well, and focus more on more of an evolutionary, integrated, collaborative kind of thing outside of you. So then we have Venus in Cancer moving into Leo on August 25th. And this is definitely going to be a lot more harmonious for your home life and your family life. She is going to oppose Pluto right when she moves in, though, for those first few days and those last few days of the end of the month. But which is definitely going to bring in potentially some kind of change in desire or some kind of tension to what you desire, like what you desire in home and family or what you want with home and family is being challenged maybe by, career or fears revolving around your career, authority figure or something like that. But after that, the rest of the Venus transit through Leo is actually pretty awesome. So so that is basically what I am seeing for you guys, Taurus risings. Comment down below, sexy Taurus rising, if you stayed until here. I appreciate you guys, and let me know down below if any of that was landing with you. I'd love to hear your feedback, so let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Alrighty, Gemini risings, welcome to your August 2025 horoscope for the month ahead. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. Let's go ahead and dive into your chart. I'm going to pull up your chart here on the screen, so you should be able to see it now. So, okay, as a Gemini rising, when I look at your chart, first of all, I really feel like this is going to be a really kind of beautiful, sentimental time, especially this first part of the month with Venus and Jupiter coming into their conjunction in your second house. I really think that this could be like, maybe finding something that you thought you lost that was like really sentimental or something, or even some kind of really good news or really positive news, or even just a really positive vibe and feeling and energy surrounding like what you're capable of or what's next, or resources or assets or money in some way, shape, or form, what you have to offer. It's like this is a really positive vibe in terms of like, oh my gosh, like I could do that, or I could create that, or I could make that happen. Plus with it being Leo season and your third house being kind of lit up here by not only the sun, but your ruling planet Mercury, and Mercury being retrograde as we enter the month of August, like you're definitely doing some reflecting anyway of like, okay, what am I doing in my day-to-day life, in my environment? How am I showing up in the world? How am I going out in the world? Am I speaking my opinions? Am I expressing myself? Like there's a lot of focus around self-expression and creative self-expression right now. And talking, communicating, like, are you really truly expressing yourself in the way that you want to? And with Mercury retrograding here, this could be a time where maybe you're coming back to like, old topics or old areas of interest that you are passionate about that maybe you started or wanted to do a long time ago but stopped. Like maybe this could be like the perfect time for like starting a podcast, getting your voice out there, doing content, just writing a book, like deciding what it is that you want, how you want to move forward basically from here in your life, and kind of seeing what you have to offer and seeing your potential and what you're capable of and what you're able to create, what you're able to do, what you're able to produce, what you're able to put out there with the second and third house being so activated. What are your talents? What are your skills? All of that. So this is like kind of regaining confidence in those things, I really feel like, for you this month. Now, on top of that, one of the other things that I see here, when I look at your chart, is Mars this month moving into Libra, your fifth house. Even more of a doubling down on self-expression, joy, creativity, love, romance, the heart's desires, right? Putting more energy into that. And even if, there are some, even if there are some challenges to that, it's like, with Mars ruling your 11th house and Saturn and Neptune being in your 11th, and all this nodal activity in your 10th and Pluto in your 9th, there's been such a large focus on the top of your chart here. So what is my future? Where am I going? What is my purpose? What do I want to learn? What do I need to educate myself with? Where do I want to travel to? What experiences do I need to have to get me where I want to go? 10th house, 9th and 10th, right? To get me where I want to go, to building my goals, to achieving my dreams, to trusting in my vision or my purpose or whatever. And then also taking action, 11th house, on finding the people that I relate with and finding the communities that I am involved with, and maybe even leading other people or stepping into leadership or, putting it all out there and making bold moves. But now there's kind of this pullback period happening with the bottom of your chart where it's like, yeah, that's still in the background and still somewhat the focus of like, what you're doing in your life and all the big things you're doing. But now there's also more of a focus on like, but hold on, let's kind of balance out the love life first. Let's balance out the heart first. Let's come back and figure out what I need to do to harmonize my life in terms of coming back to my passions, coming back to my interest, coming back to my hobbies, coming back to my skills, my talents, coming back to the things I love to do, the things that entertain me, the things that I'm good at, coming back to home and family life a bit, and getting a bit more structured there and learning a bit more about what's going on there. Like, this is kind of a time where it's like, come back to you and come back to your gifts and your talents and your capabilities and your heart's desires and like all of that. Like, has your relationship or your love life, and when I say love life, I don't even just mean like love life as in like a romantic interest with another person. It can be that too, but I also mean like your love life. Like, what are you in love with right now about your life? Are you in love with things right now about your life? Like, do you have a hobby, a passion, something that you're doing that you're like, oh my gosh, I love doing this? Like, it's so much more, right? So it's like coming back to the things about your life that feel poetic, that feel beautiful, that feel blissful, that feel like you, that feel self-expressive. Mars in the fifth house, I think of like, and then also all this third house energy and Venus and Jupiter in your second, I think of like writing or poetry or writing a book, like I said, or like, a podcast, or like, really experimenting with putting your voice out there more or being more of yourself. Like, even if you already have a podcast or you already do content, being more of yourself when you're doing it, finding ways to collaborate or to, allow other voices out there as well, even with Mars and Libra, like balancing things out, right? Like, whichever one you're too into, balance it out with the other one. Okay. So, yeah, there also could just be some decisions that you're making around the things that, you're passionate about or your heart's desires. This, the fifth house can also be children. So it could be, something to do with that. Either way, it's like you're kind of being shown where you have had this paradigm that has been stopping you or trapping you from going after what you want. And it has had to do with other people. It's had to do with how you think about the world or how you think other people may receive you, or, something along those lines. And so, but it's like, okay, so like an example of like a way that I could see this, and I'm not saying this is the case for all of you. I mean, it could be for some of you, but it's just a random like example that popped up in my head. But basically, like, let's say that you are like, you want to do podcasts, right? But you want to do podcasts, like let's say on things that are close to your heart, or things that at least you did originally, right? Things that are close to your heart, or even like relationships or heart-centered topics, or topics that are more sensual or romantic, or like whatever. But you've had this like whole belief since you've started doing a podcast, that maybe people don't care about that. People just want to hear about themselves, right? Very like Saturn, Neptune, Aries in the 11th. Like people just want to hear about themselves. So I have to continue to just talk about other people, or just talk about how other people can use what I'm saying to benefit themselves in some way. And so Mars comes into Libra, and you realize, like, you know what? And then also with this Mercury retrograde, it's like, you know what? Like, I am just so burnt out. Like, I am just not very passionate, like, about what I'm doing. A lot of people would have that happen and be like, oh, this must mean it's bad, like Mars in Libra sucks, and I mean, it is in detriment, right? It is in detriment. That's for a reason. But it's actually not happening because it's, trying to throw you off. It's like giving you a message. It's like, hey, you don't love doing this. So maybe it's time to come back to what you do love doing, like maybe it's time to come back to like, hey, like, maybe I should start speaking from my heart. Maybe I should start speaking about these other topics, or like maybe you've been like wanting to like share your poetry, but you've been scared, Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune and Aries, and Mars being in Libra. It's like, okay, maybe it's time to face that fear, so those are some like examples of ways that it could play out. It could also even be that like, with Aries in your 11th house, like maybe you have been running some kind of, business or online, whatever, like content creator, like whatever, doing social media, and you've been doing it like all yourself, and you've built up a really big following and like all of that. And then Mars in Libra comes around, opposes Saturn and Neptune in your 11th, and it's like I'm just not speaking to people anymore in the same way for some reason. And you realize like, okay, maybe it's time to like maybe bring another person in, delegate some of these tasks. Maybe I don't have to do it all myself, basically, but I've been living under this like whole delusion that like it had to be me and I had to do it all myself and like just try harder and keep at it, and so anyway, but those are just some, like little examples of like kind of what I mean here. Because that Saturn and Neptune and Aries is like a lot of paradigm shifting, a lot of illusions bursting around other people in the world and society and the groups that you belong to or that you perceive in the world, like whether it's a social media community or the community that you're in for your job or the community that you think you're a part of because you share this interest. It's like there's a conflict of interest that Mars in Libra can really bring in here. And it's like, oh, I thought I had to be that way to do this myself, or I thought I had to do that, but actually I don't. And so that's kind of what's happening here. It's not like one or the other, it's an opposition. So it's more like finding the middle ground of both of these in some way, shape, or form. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and go over the dates here. So Mars moves into Libra on August 6th and will immediately start opposing Saturn and Neptune. And it will also create a grand air trine between Pluto and Uranus being in your sign. So it's like time to shake shit up for you, especially socially and especially in the areas of life that inspire you, to do with your identity, to do with what you believe, and to do with your passions. And so it's like, you know what? I want to make some big changes to how I'm doing something, but I feel restricted or I feel like I can't. But come to find out, or it feels like if I do, it won't even matter or something, right? Especially with Saturn and Neptune conjunct. But it's like, come to find out, maybe that's all an illusion that's been in your mind this whole time. It's just been your way of looking at the world. And that's not exactly true. That you can do whatever you want to do because Mars is sextiling Mercury, which then trines Saturn and Neptune. And it's also trining Pluto, which then sextiles Saturn and Neptune. So it's like whatever, there's like some illusion or lie or like whatever that we've been under that's causing us to come into some kind of confrontation or challenge or conflict of interest or like whatever. But it's like, no, It's fine. Mars rules Saturn and Neptune, and Mars is in Libra. That basically tells me that Saturn and Neptune are actually playing out through Mars in Libra. So they're actually kind of working together behind the scenes. It's almost like you're putting yourself, the way that I've been kind of seeing this is like you're almost putting yourself in a situation just to challenge yourself, even though you don't need to be, right? And like that's kind of how I see this. It's like if you can remember that you're the one kind of creating the narrative here, and, you know, you can also remember that, you know, this is all to challenge you, to evolve you, not to distract you, not to throw you off, like whatever, boom, you're good, right? Now, this is only going to really be this way for a few days though. So it's like from like the 6th to the 10th of August, that we're going to be kind of feeling that. Now, other than that, the next big thing that we have here is the Aquarius full moon that will be happening on August 9th. And again, kind of bringing in, like shining some light on like what do you believe and your beliefs about the world and educational pursuits and all of that. And we'll go over more of that in the Aquarius full moon video when I do that. And then on August 11th, we have Mercury going direct, and it will go direct only 2 degrees away from an exact opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. Now, this is really interesting too. Again, it's like, alrighty here, like we need to change the narrative, or we need to change the story, or we need to change the way that we're perceiving this or thinking about this. This is like some kind of big mental shift that's been kind of being reflected on over like the last couple weeks. That is going to help us feel more empowered within our thinking, okay? And within your own self-expression. Again, it's like, I just want to be myself and be happy and authentic and say the things that I want to say. But then there's this like, okay, but like, what about if people don't understand it? Or what if everybody doesn't think that way or believe that way? What if I get canceled? Like, you know, things like that. So anyway, then after that, also on August 11th, we have then the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in your second. Like I said, this really, like the word I kept hearing when I was looking at this before I turned the camera on was like sentimental, especially with it being in Cancer. So it's like a really just sweet moment, or like, you know, time period of those few days leading up to the 11th of like something just really, it feels like beautiful and close to the heart happening. It's like comforting, safe, almost like just like your mother holding you in her arms or something, like that kind of feeling, you know, or like your grandma rocking you in her rocking chair when you were younger, you know, like, or singing you a lullaby. Like it's that kind of energy I'm getting from this, especially for you and your chart. But it could have something to do with like money, your capabilities, skills, assets, resources, things that you own or have, you know, in some way, shape, or form as well. So you'll have to let me know how that one plays out. Then on the 23rd, we'll have the Virgo new moon, which is kind of like the pregame to eclipse season in September. And which really then starts lighting up your 4th and 10th houses again, really kind of bringing in these really huge karmic life-changing lessons of your past and your private life and your home and family life versus your big dreams and goals and legacy and your career and your professional life and who you are in the world and where you're going, you know, where you come from versus where you're going. And that's going to be really, really huge for you. And we'll talk more about that next month though. Because the Virgo new moon, it's just kind of like a simple new moon. It's not really an eclipse, but we do have another Virgo new moon at the end of, or later in September, that is an eclipse. And then we also have a Pisces eclipse too. So we'll talk more about that later. But Venus will move into Leo on August 25th, definitely adding a more sweeter flavor to your 3rd house. This is definitely going to be a time where you are, again, Venus is going to oppose Pluto. So not only have you had a massive mindset shift when Mercury goes direct opposing Pluto, but then Venus comes in at the end of the month and it's like, okay, it's really time to make some changes. It's really time to basically, like, it's like now we're changing how we feel. And when Venus starts moving through Leo, it's going to be very good for like your confidence and feeling good and feeling inspired and feeling confident to speak from the heart space. So And that is basically it. That is the astrology for August. Let me know down below, Gemini, if this resonated with you. Comment down below. Sexy Gemini rising if you watched until here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And again, let me know down below what we're feeling. If you feel like you understand what a lot of these transits could be saying or bringing in your life, I'd love to hear some examples from you guys to let me know how it's playing out, because I'd love to know. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Alrighty, Cancer risings, welcome to your August 2025 horoscope for the month ahead. Let's go ahead and get it on and popping here. I'm going to pull up your chart on the screen so we can both see what the F is going on. Alrighty, so immediately I look at your chart and I first just go right to this Venus-Jupiter conjunction happening this month in your first house, which is such a beautiful place to have it. Like, lucky you, okay? This is really, really beautiful. This is like goddess energy. This is like, yes, I am the divine feminine, the high priestess. Thank you very much. You know, like, this is going to be just so beautiful. I feel like you are going to feel like right around this time when this happens, and we'll go over the dates here in a minute, but like, you're going to feel like just this synergy happening within you, or maybe this like integration of maybe something that you've missed for like a long time, or like a part of yourself from the past, or like it's kind of like nostalgic and sentimental, but like also deeply, it's also like new at the same time, because it's the first time that, you know, Venus and Jupiter have been conjunct in your sign for a long time. So but it is still your sign, it's still Cancer, it can still deal with the past. So it's like there's something here happening that feels very expansive and very optimistic and very evolutionary, and very good and blissful. Like, at the same time, you could really notice your intuition being a lot more prominent at this time. And even with Jupiter moving through your sign anyway, like, you could feel way more intuitive. You could feel way more like just optimistic about things, you know, like way more in like a flow state, way more like in tune with things around you, you know, like just way more vibey. This is vibey. This is definitely vibey, but on like a deep level, right? Like on like a deep level, like you feel safe, you feel secure. It's like feeling safe from the inside out. And I think that's a huge lesson right now, actually. Now I feel like I just cracked the code with something there with you guys, but feeling safe from the inside out. That is a huge lesson, I think, right now with you guys. You may have been going through a lot of money fears, a lot of old survival programs and, you know, fears, etc. You may be somewhat lost, but also like kind of chasing like, you know, something that feels purposeful, that feels meaningful, but it feels like the more that you try to hang on, the more that you try to micromanage everything in your life, the more things just slip away or don't go right, right? There's a lot here. You have a lot weighing on you about like, hey, basically this is not, the way that I see your chart right now, and like with your transits and stuff, it's almost like when you're a kid and you just turn 18, like, and you have like a parent or like a set of parents that's like, all right, go figure it out, go grow up, you need to move out, did you get a job yet, you need to go, you need to go, you need to go, right? It's like that kind of energy. Like, what do you want to do with your life? You know, like you feel like you're 4 years old and someone's like, what do you want to do with your life? And it's like, I don't know, you tell me, right? But it feels like that right now for you guys, where it's like, what do you want to do with your life? And it feels like maybe that's a question that's weighing on a lot of you guys right now. Like, am I happy in my life? Do I feel like I have purpose and meaning in my life? Like, what do I want to do with my life? And so I think that some of you are even at a place where it's like, I don't know what I want to do yet, but I know I can't keep doing what I was doing, right? And I feel like some of you are at a place where you do kind of have an idea of like what you want to do. Maybe you're going after it, you know? But either way, with Saturn and Neptune, you know, conjunct your 10th house, it's like pushing you and pulling you to like grow up and take on more and take on responsibility and take charge of your life, and also burst through any imaginary walls, any imaginary illusions that you've been living under, okay? Now, with Mars going through your sign really early on this year and retrograding there, I think there's a lot in terms of like kind of like a dismantling happening of like yourself. And I think that now it's like you have to learn how to feel safe within yourself. You have to come back to like being your own authority here and not needing anything outside of you. Like, you've got to validate yourself instead of needing it outside of you or needing everything to be in check for you to feel safe. You are a Cancer rising. You have the ability to feel safe and secure in any freaking feeling you want to feel inside of yourself at any given moment, including right freaking now. If you want to feel safe, you know what feeling safe feels like, and you can do that. Like, you're ruled by the moon, babes, okay? You are ruled by the mother effing moon. So I think so much of this is like, when you feel safe within yourself and you don't need anything outside of you, you're not desperate for anything, you're not chasing anything, you're not like hanging on for dear life, clinging to anything. It's like things flow naturally. And this is when you're more relaxed, you're more in a flow. And if you want to take action and focus on, you know, doing certain things or making bold moves or focusing on your other talents and capabilities and, you know, creating certain things, then you can, right? But your whole life can't just be about, like, you know, what you can achieve or what you can do. And that's where Mars is like coming in this month into Libra and is like, yo, we got to balance some shit out first. You know, we've been chasing something, and many of you don't even know what you've been chasing. What are you really chasing? A feeling, likely, because whatever physical thing that you think you're chasing is really comes down to really just what it makes you feel like when you got it. And you being the high priestess, you know, the intuitive one ruled by the moon, you can feel that feeling without it. Like, it's like you forgot that you have the ability to channel that within you, and you've just been chasing it in something outside of you, right? And so this month is really kind of a time about this, like coming back into yourself and accepting yourself, integrating yourself, loving yourself. Like, you know, give yourself a freaking hug, okay? Like Jupiter, Venus in the first, like, give yourself a freaking hug. Take your ass to the spa. Like, oh my gosh, like, chill, relax, you know, like, get in some water and just float and, like, feel the weight of the water just holding you up and, like, breathe. Feel how grateful it is to be alive. These are like the beginnings, like the foundations of beautiful things that start happening. But when we're spiraling and like, oh, I need to be doing this and I should be doing that, I got to prove this and I got to chase after that, we're like, ugh. And again, Pisces 9th house north node right now, like, you've got to trust in life. You've got to trust in the grand plan. The more that you try to search endlessly with the Virgo south node to figure it out and create a schedule and to put it all together and micromanage every little thing, it like gets farther and farther away. Woo! That all just like came out of nowhere. So that might even be like the deepest reading I've done so far. Anyway, hopefully that was for someone, because it felt very specific and it felt like it was coming through me. And so that was interesting. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the dates this month that everything's going down in. So first and foremost, we have Mars moving into Libra on August 6th, okay? And as soon as it does, it's going to start opposing Neptune and Saturn. And this is going to kind of challenge, again, this like hustle, work hard, go after the things that you want, figure it out, grow up, kid, get out. What do you want to do with your life? Take on more responsibility. Like, you got to be the leader of your life, which you do, right? But, you know, this is kind of challenging some of that. And it's saying like, hey, like, can we just like tone it down a little bit? Can we take a step back? Can we like just focus on the family and the home life and chill and have peace? And so there may be this kind of push and pull between where you're going and where you've been, or your career and your goals and the things you're chasing in the world versus home, family, and personal life. Maybe there's even someone at home that's really pushing you a lot, you know, that's like, you know, you need to go do this, or you should be doing that, or like whatever. Maybe you take a break from work and you focus more of your energy on your home and family. Either way, there's something here going on where there's this push and pull between, again, what you've been chasing versus, okay, hold on, let me rethink this and make some decisions and like reharmonize my home life, my family life, my personal life. Again, Libra is ruled by Venus, which is in your sign. So Venus rules Mars and Libra. So it's like, okay, I need to reprioritize my home life and my family and the things that are actually important to me. And I need to start maybe changing up the way that I'm going about things. I need to start maybe getting others' perspectives or others' inputs, or like opening my mind more to my significant other or my parents or my family members, or like whatever. I need to start kind of figuring that out. Now, Mars in Libra is in detriment, so I'm not going to lie to you. There can be some cons to this. This can bring up some changes in family and home life, some controversies, some conflicts, a conflict of interest. Okay, this is Libra, so this is about, duality. This is about like two different sides mirroring each other. Okay, so we do, just want to be aware of that. It's not the worst thing in the world, but there can be some conflict that comes up here. Maybe you get a job opportunity finally, something you've been chasing, and then your significant other is like, no, I don't like it, right? And then you feel pulled between the two or something, right? Like, so there's so many different ways this could play out. For some people, it may not even be that deep. It may just be, okay, I want to focus more of my energy on my home and family. Or I have an opportunity to work from home so I can spend more time with my home and family, like something like that, right? Because there is like this constant, with it being Leo season, there is like this kind of massive prominent, focus on your finances, resources, and what you have to offer, what you have to give, what you bring to the table. And it's much more than just finances and resources too, and assets. Like, it's like literally your energy. It's literally your priorities. Like, where are you? Like, the first house is you. Okay, I'm me. Ta-da. The second house is like, okay, what am I doing with me? Like, what are my priorities? What do I do next? What are the actions I'm taking? What am I investing my time and energy in? Like, where is me going? Where's the energy of me going, getting put into? And that's why it rules finances and resources, because it's what you create. It's what you establish, what you're capable of, like what you bring into being. And so that's basically like the second house. So it can also be like your skills and your capabilities and your sense of power and leadership. And like, so a lot of it's that as well. And so anyway, with that being said, though, this second house, there's been a large awareness and focus around money with Mercury retrograde. It's like, am I really living up to my potential? Am I really like shining for my skills and my talents? Am I really being seen for what I'm capable of? Am I really making the kind of money I want to make? Do I really have the resources that I want to have? Like, but more than that, it's like coming back to your own sense of like, wait, I created all this. If I can create this reality, I can create another one. Like, I'm creating my life here. I'm the authority here. Like, I'm the leader of my life here, right? So anyway, then the next big thing that we kind of have happening this month, and again, Mars and Saturn and Neptune are only going to oppose each other from like the 6th to the 10th of the month. So it's not like a huge opposition that's happening all month or anything. But then we have Mercury going direct right around the 11th, and it's going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius. It's only going to be a couple degrees off. So it's not exact, but it is pretty close. So we will still likely feel some residual energy from that. And with Mercury going direct, pretty much opposing Pluto, this is a massive change, shift in perspective and decisions and thinking, revolving around resources and finances. So this could definitely be a time where Mercury goes direct, and it's like you have a massive kind of epiphany, or you finally are like, you know what, I'm done doing this, or I'm done doing that, or I'm done putting my energy here, I'm done prioritizing that, I'm finally making some big changes, or I'm taking my power back, or I'm facing this fear that's been holding me back. And so then you kind of go from there, and that happens right around the 11th. You could feel it, a few days leading up to it, a few days after. And then we have the Venus-Jupiter conjunction also on the 11th. Very powerful time there from like basically the 6th to the 11th. And again, this is like really amazing for your sense of self and your identity. This is definitely really great for evolving yourself and feeling more at home within yourself, and coming back to like your own sense of wonder and optimism and evolution and vision and what you really want and desire for yourself and where you see yourself going. Your appearance, your identity, your vitality, your body, themes like that could come up as well. This could be like kind of finally making an external change to your style or the way that you dress, or, whatever the case may be. Then on the 23rd, we will have the Virgo new moon, which is kind of like the pregame to eclipse season happening in September. So the Virgo new moon's nothing too crazy. It's not an eclipse yet. We will have the eclipses as we get more into September. So we'll talk about that more then. But it is some kind of new chapter happening here in your third house. And we'll go over that in the Virgo new moon videos. All the full moons and new moons of this month will have their own videos like always. So anyway, and then we will have Venus moving into the sign of Leo in your second house on the 25th. And again, this is really going to bring a lot more of a sweeter flavor to your second house. Since it's Venus, there's going to be a lot more like, you know what, I've seen what I need to change and maybe started taking action on it, but now like I am liking this, I am desiring this, and I'm ready. Like this looks really, really good for finances. This looks really, really good for resources and for making creative changes to this area of life. So that happens at the end of the month around the 25th. So that is what I am seeing for you guys, Cancer risings. Hopefully that resonated. Let me know down below if it did. I'd really love to hear your feedback on this one because had like a little almost like channeling sesh there in the beginning, like damn. So let me know down below how that all related. Comment down below, sexy Cancer rising, if you watched until here. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and that is the end of August horoscopes. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next one.